Okay. All right. It is 6 p.m. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Harmony CDD. We'll start with roll call, establish a quorum and microphones. Supervisor Leet is here, or Chairman Leet is here. Supervisor Cornell.
Here.
Supervisor Phillips. And Supervisor Williams. And Supervisor Chikanis.
Here.
May the record show Lucas is here via Zoom. We do have a full board and 4 members for quorum here in person. Start with a public comment period. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less and related to agenda topics for tonight. I'll start with Mayor Jane Sleds.
Jane Sleds, 3181 Songbird Circle. First, I want to thank Blake. I'm already impressed with this new management company because what a difference. I got a phone call immediately after I sent some emails to all of you, and it was wonderful to hear. So I really do appreciate that Blake called me. So I'm very impressed. Very, very good. The second thing is we had, and I did write to all the board members, but I got some bounce backs from the emails, but we had a terrible incident. I was on vacation and one of the other community members will speak to it, but kids with guns down at the lake with that, we have not secured that property yet. And as you know, I've already talked about this for the last year and a half. And now we have kids shooting guns down at that lake. At Cat Lake, yep. So I'm very concerned about the security of our Harmony, but even more so for our 55+ communities that this property sits in the middle of. The other thing, I just am thankful I see that we have on the agenda tonight, the trailer parking. So hopefully that gets rectified today. That's it.
All right, thank you. Next, we have Herb Brott.
Hello, I'm a new member of this community. My wife Rosemary is sitting right over there, and that's how you can remember my name. Herb, I'm a Herb, she's a Rosemary. Oh, it is incredible, isn't it? Okay, we just moved into Harmony. We had our closing. Oh, well, I could cut it out, but let me learn the ropes. Okay, my name is Herbie Bro and Rosemary, my wife. We moved into the community. We had our closing on December the 9th. Not that that makes a lot of difference. And we like to spend our next 40 years. I'm 77 now. Want to spend my next 40 years right here. And but we're butting up to Cat Lake. And we had an incident there where I had to call the police. And I went on Wednesday, I went to Mark Hills from the HOA. And I also went to the Jones Real Estate. Holy cats. I'm a slow learner. Okay, on Friday, August 22nd, I heard several gunshots coming from the park behind my house on Cat Lake. Looking out my guest bedroom window, I saw and heard several cars trying to flee the area. I then called 911, and 2 police officers responded and said it is probably young people drinking or getting high. It happens in this area. They investigated and called me back. There's a gate that used to be locked. When we bought the property, the gate was always locked and it was open, I think, Monday through Friday, and for people to enjoy. And it's a beautiful place to walk. but it's not a good place to dodge bullets. They investigated and called me back. Oh, I said that before. I'm sorry. Several homeowners on North Lake and East Lake, many people heard similar things regarding partying and are afraid of possible consequences. I went to Jones Homes and reported this episode. It was like an accident waiting to happen. If nothing is done, such as locking the gate, if you would like to talk to me, call my number, and it is 315-530-2342. And I made this for Mark Hill personal, so that's why I gave him my number, but now everybody's got it, so just call me when dinner is ready.
Okay.
Are my 3 minutes up? Oh, okay. 315-530-2342.
Okay. Yes, we will, this isn't really a time for a back and forth. It's just for audience comments, but we absolutely have had other residents report this. We will discuss it, I'm sure, with other issues as we go through the meeting.
I want to thank you for my time.
Great, thank you. All right, next we have Mr. Dan Heck. At the next sheet.
Good day, everybody. I'm the president of the community garden out here, and I know there is an agenda item coming up, number 17. Just wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to say a few things. If the opportunity comes up then and you need some other things, let me know. Basically, we've got to find out for sure how we're going to be able to collect dues, the method at which we've used for a long, long time. And maybe there's some new things we need to know about. We do have several pieces of document that have pretty much stayed the same for many, many years, but we'd like them looked at again by legal just to make sure they're correct. And of course, there's wondering a little bit about turning in reimbursement for garden fees, things like that. And I got a list a mile long too. But anyway, we don't need to go into all that right now, but I know that was coming up and we've got a deadline of the 20th of September. That's at the time that we sign people up. So if we could get some information back to us by then, that would be great. Appreciate your help. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
Yep. And next we have Mr. Kevin Shea.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Shea. I am coming to you tonight as in my capacity as the president of the HROA board. For actually, there was one thing initially, but the other comments have made me think of a second item. So the first thing is the agenda item tonight on number 15. What we'd like to do for the holidays is kind of this holiday decorative takeover of the square. We started last year with a 15-foot Christmas tree, which I think was received very, very well. So thank you for letting us do that. We're bringing it back. I already put a deposit down on a 15-foot tree, so we'd like to repeat that. But in addition to the 15-foot Christmas tree that's going to be up for the season, what we'd like to do to kind of engage more community spirit, it's just a sense of community and volunteerism and things like that. It's kind of like a festival of trees idea, a theme. If you've ever seen anything like that, there's like different families or entities can like bring their own tree. We're talking like a 6-foot type of a Christmas tree. They'll get it decorated however their family wants to decorate it. And those trees will line the walkway up to the main tree for the season. And so it will require those trees to be installed and supported and using the electricity for the season of December while those are up. And then lastly, on the holiday theming, we've got these beautiful light poles that I think could be decorated with some more like banners. What I want to do is have some holiday decorative banners and allow advertisers, local Harmony owned businesses to advertise on those signs. And that money generated would go back to the HOA to fund more social community events. So that's what I'm looking to do for the holidays. The theme, it would be just like a standoff banner about 2 feet tall. And on the top and bottom would be holiday colors and holiday decor. In the center of the banner would be a potential advertiser of a Harmony owned business. So that's just, I wanted to add some more color. So when that's up for debate later on, I wanted you to have a little bit of insight onto how that goes. And the second thing I thought of with the first couple of comments, traditionally the HROA has budgeted for sheriff's office details. But the HOA budget is so small, right? We don't have much. And so we've really only been able to budget sometimes $3,000 a year. We've cut that because it doesn't do anything. $3,000 a year gets me maybe 4 sheriff's details. And anytime we have a detail for somebody they're trying to catch speeders, then there's somebody on the Facebook page that warns everybody. It's really not money well spent. It's money wasted. And so what I would like to propose is a CDD with a larger budget, look at making a larger dent in that. In the CDD, instead of the HROA taking responsibility, other communities do that where they have full-time deputies. Personally, I don't think we should have to pay a deputy additionally to patrol our area. I think my personal opinions are that that's wrong. I would use a word of that starts with C and ends with eruption. But unfortunately, that's the way things go here in Florida. And I feel like that if we do want that attention from the sheriff's office, we may need to pay for it. And again, the HROA does not have the budget for that. So I would look to you folks to consider that if we were to go that way. That's all.
Can I ask one question?
All right, thank you. Sure, yeah, let's keep it brief.
So of these advertisers that can put up a tree, do they have to be in the Harmony, the HROA, or could they be from one of the other HOAs?
No, it's so because the Harmony HROA, there's some other HOAs that are not part of ours, but they all kind of are an umbrella of the main. So since we all share the square, we would welcome any of the other
Okay,
HOAs, anybody that shares this community under the CDD. If you're an HOA under the CDD, they're absolutely welcome.
okay. I just wanted to clarify because
Absolutely.
there are the 5 different HOAs.
Yeah, I'm only representing one. So,
Exactly.
yeah, that's a
Okay,
great
thanks.
question. Thanks for clarifying.
Okay. All right. Do we have any other audience comments, either here in person or on the Zoom meeting? All right, hearing none. I'll go ahead and let's, we don't have the minutes yet for the next item, correct?
Not able to provide them at this time.
Okay. So what I'd like to do in the interest of, the changes and everything, trying new things out, and also in the interest of keeping the meeting moving quickly, under my being chair, we've had some 80-minute meetings, but we've also had some 5-hour meetings. I would like to turn over running the meeting to our new district manager with PFM, Ms. Lynn Mullins.
Thank you, Dan. All right, so next up on the agenda, we have ratification of resolution 2025-14, removing and appointing the officers. This resolution removes Jennifer Golden as secretary, Leah as treasurer, Joseph as assistant secretary, and Angel Montana as assistant treasurer. And this appoints my office, myself, Lynn Mullins, as secretary, Jennifer Walden as assistant secretary, Jennifer as treasurer, Rick, Amy, and Amanda and Verona as assistant treasurers. Your chair did execute this to keep things moving due to the week gap in transition. So I'd be looking for a motion to ratify.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have ratification of the agreement with PFM Group Consulting LLC for district management services. Your chair did execute this and work with district staff to get this signed and moving forward before the start of our contract. So we're looking for a motion to ratify.
So moved.
I'll
Second.
second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have ratification of the agreement with PFM Financial Advisors LLC for the financial advisory services. This also has worked with your chair to keep things moving along, and our office does look things a little bit differently, and we keep it under the financial advisory services. Your chair and district council has reviewed and provided Dan the authority to move forward with signing. In addition to that, you'll find the disclosure of conflicts of interest and other important municipal information. And we're just looking for a motion to ratify unless there's any other questions. Julie, second by Joe. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have ratification of the agreement with Berman Construction Services for field management and maintenance services. Again, this is another contract item to keep things moving along so there was no gaps in services. Your staff did work with this and Dan executed out of a meeting. We're looking for a motion to ratify. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have consideration of the FMS bonds Rule G17 disclosure for the Harmony CDD Series 2025 bonds. Dylan, did you happen to join?
Hi, I'm on. Sorry, I had to unmute. Can you hear me?
Yes, Dylan.
Phenomenal. Yeah, this is just a general disclosure and engagement letter, basically engaging FMS to work on your behalf in conjunction with the bond refinancing.
Any questions of Dylan?
Yeah, so you gave us the brief rundown ahead of our last meeting a few weeks ago.
Mhm.
Could you just give us if there's any other just updated status or what if the outlook has changed at all, what your
Sure, no problem. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you wanted to get to that ahead of this, which is just hiring us, or if you wanted to move forward with that prior to adopting the delegation resolution. But I can get into that right now, no problem.
do we have it on the agenda for later discussion or?
The next item is your delegated award resolution where we can go into more, that however you guys want to handle. I think the FMS bonds is just to engage them for their services for this series.
Okay, so I'll move to adopt that.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have consideration of resolution 2025-15, the delegated award resolution for the refinancing.
Yeah, so to jump into it here, as we discussed at the last meeting on August 7th, the numbers, the savings are looking even better than what I showed you earlier in the year. Interest rates have not really moved. So before we, at the time that we met on August 7th, there was a lot of talk that the Fed was going to cut at the upcoming September meeting, cutting short-term interest rates. Just last week, I believe it was on Friday, the chair of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, gave a speech at the Jackson Hole Symposium, which is an annual meeting where he always discusses the path of monetary policy. He basically all but confirmed and stated very clearly that the Fed is going to start engaging in a cutting cycle, that they're likely to cut at the September meeting. Typically, when the Federal Reserve tips their hat like that, they're signaling to the markets that that is what's going to happen. They try not to surprise markets. So the fact that he said that basically means that it's going to happen. That being said, as I discussed, I believe, with the vice chair at the previous meeting, markets are forward-looking. So the Federal Reserve controls short-term interest rates. They don't control long-term interest rates. Long-term interest rates are basically dictated by the open market. And they take into consideration fiscal policy and spending, and growth, GDP growth, economic growth factors, inflation factors, and how that is going to evolve in the scheme of monetary policy from the Fed on a go-forward basis over a very, very long period of time. So they're trying to guess 10 years out what the Fed is going to do with regard to overnight short-term rates. It's a little bit of I'm getting into the weeds here. That being said, since we met on August 7th to this day now, where the Fed basically announced that they're going to lower the short-term interest rate in a few weeks, the 10-year Treasury yield, longer dated U.S. government bonds, has only gone down by 0.01%. That's 1 basis point. And the 2-year treasury yield, which is the shorter dated bond, which has more of an effect from Fed monetary policy, it's only gone down by 0.06%, 6 basis points. That's to say that the market was basically already pricing in these decisions from the Federal Reserve, and the confirmation from the Fed did not do much to change the market outlook or change interest rates. I know that there was some concern that if the Fed was going to be lowering rates, we're going to see we're going to see long-term rates go lower as well. But as it stands today, the market is currently pricing in about 75 basis points, 3 different cuts at upcoming meetings between now and January. And that's kind of little changed between when we last spoke and today, even after that speech from the Fed. So from the perspective of what do we expect rates to do? I mean, nobody has a crystal ball, but I do believe it seems that the market is already at a place where they expect the Fed to cut. I think the short-term rates reflect that, and I think that's why we're seeing better savings opportunities today than when I first spoke with you guys back in March and April. That being the case, I think the only thing left for us on our end is to complete some of the diligence work associated with this offering document. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a bunch of different landowners who own different parcels of land that are not yet developed, most specifically in the area that's subject to the 2015 bonds. We're working our way through that. PFM has been helping us with providing us tax rolls and lien books so we can go and see who the ownership is of each of these parcels, the acreage. And we just need to solidify some of the disclosure to prospective investors, but we don't see an issue with being able to market the bonds. There's a possibility that the reserve fund for the 2015 bonds, given the status, the build-out status currently of that area, might have to be a little bit higher than what we anticipated, just because it's nowhere near as developed as the area that's subject to the 2014 bonds. That being said, this delegation resolution that's in front of you sets forth certain parameters. Basically, there's a floor savings level, and that floor savings level for each series is the levels that I had showed you that you originally approved back in March, when you said that you were interested in moving forward with the refinancing. So that's 14% annual savings for those subject to the 2014 bonds, and 11% annual savings for those subject to the 2015 bonds. Now, like I said, we're probably closer to 18% and 14%, respectively, for the 2 different series of bonds and the annual savings. But it's a matter of putting this information in front of the prospective investors in a public offering of bonds, and they have to provide feedback, and the rate has to be negotiated on what they're willing to purchase. So that's exactly what this resolution does, is it provides FMS the authority to go out and negotiate an interest rate in a bond sale on your behalf, on the CDD's behalf, with parameters that the savings cannot be below 14% for the 2014 bonds, and it cannot be below 11% annual savings for the 2015 bonds. And of course, our aim is to get you the best interest rate possible and the most savings possible. But these are basically the floor levels. If there's any questions, I'm here to answer.
Any other questions from the board? Lucas?
Yeah. So this refinancing, after we refinance our bonds, we're locked in for the tenure of that contract. Is that correct?
You will have 10 years of call protection for the investors, so you would not be able to refinance for 10 years. At that point, you would be able to refinance, but like I said, I think a few meetings back, the likeliest of scenarios is they'll probably be too small to refinance given the fixed costs. That's part of the reason why doing them kind of simultaneously right now also helps. because neither bond issue is that large in and of itself, but when you combine it and then you are able to share the fixed costs of CDD issuance between the two refinancings simultaneously, that helps. So you're not locked in for the entirety of it, but there, for the most part, it would not make sense to refinance once that call period is probably complete, just due to fixed cost of issuance.
Right, there would be no cost savings after that 10-year period, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I spoke to you last time and I voiced my opinion on the rates and the Federal Reserve cutting rates up the upcoming meeting. And I still stand with that. I don't think it's smart for us to refinance now. Basically at the same level we were when we talked about this a month ago. Rates have came down. Let me see, since the Jackson Hole meeting, probably 100 basis points. And I mean, in my opinion, the reason for them cutting is because there could be some slowdown occurred in which people buy bonds and rates fall even lower. And that's one of the reasons why they do fall. So I stand by my comment from last meeting. I don't think it's smart to refinance now. I think we have time to wait for rates to come down even further, and we're still at a good rate for our bonds for both 2014 and 2015 bonds. So yeah, those are my inputs.
All right. Thoughts from the rest of the board?
Well, I'm afraid I'm going to embarrass myself, but aren't our bonds finished like in 2031 and 2032? I didn't think we had 10 years left to go on them.
I believe the maturity of one series is 2032, and for the other series, it's 2036.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so that is, I mean, so yeah, that's the life of the bonds, basically.
Okay,
That is correct.
all righty, thanks. So I was only half done.
Okay. So any other discussion we want to have as a board? I mean, we heard from Lucas. But my thoughts are that, we didn't do it right away last time, and conditions changed, and we weren't able to get that savings to our residents for this budget year. A bird in the hand is two in the bush. I don't want to sit here and speculate that it might go down where we have a floor of savings we'd be able to provide the residents by proceeding with this. And 18 and 14 could very well be higher than that floor of savings. I think the right move is to proceed and lock those savings in for our residents.
Well, I did have one other question. Are we not considering using that money for anything else, just to pay down the bonds?
My thoughts were in opposition to doing that. A couple reasons. When it was done in the past, it was done the same way, where the revenue was used to pay it down and give that to the residents as savings, and fund projects out of our reserve that we build up from our O&M assessments. Like again, not saying because it's the right thing to do because we've always done it, but there is a level of complexity that would be adding to this whole bond issuance process.
Right. There's just so many big things that we would like to have, like a community center. I keep fixating on the community center.
Yes. So Joe, I think that's up for discussion. I don't think that's the conversation that we need to discuss now. I think it's what you think we should do about the bonds, if we should refinance now, and
And
if we want to go to that conversation, we should maybe ask Lynn and PFM on their perspective on that. But as far as this discussion,
well, the resolution before us is to do the refinance and roll it into, paying down the principal and giving that savings to the residents. So it would be, I don't want to use the phrase starting from scratch, but we.
No, I was just asking
No,
yeah, I just wanted to throw it back out there.
Yeah.
Mr.
Dylan,
Chairman?
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, just one thing to note too, and it's a business decision what you would do as far as how you finance future stuff. But If you recall, when we looked at issuing bonds before for, you know, a small amount for a maintenance building or amenities or something like that, we ran into some restrictions in the trust indenture that was applicable to the bonds that are outstanding right now, which would have prevented the board from really doing bonds until that land got a lot more developed. Those
Okay.
same restrictions are not included within the documents that you're considering today, so that if you did refinance, and I don't care one way or another whether you do or not, but if you did refinance, you would be getting rid of those restrictions and providing some more flexibility for the board in the future on that particular issue. So I just wanted you to be aware of that.
To piggyback off of Mike's point, without those restrictions, and I think Cynthia Bond Counsel is on the line and can confirm that those restrictions are no longer in the documents. It sounds like Mike already read it in that specific additional bonds provision. But if you do remove those restrictions and you have lowered everybody's debt service on their respective bonds, whichever series they're subject to, you could then have further discussions about what you want to do, if you want to issue more to fund those things, or what certain items you wanted to fund. And you're not only creating, revenue capacity because everybody's taxes are being lowered as a result of this. So you would be able to then issue a new bond, and maybe you bring them back to the same, or you bring them a little higher than where they currently are. But you have that capacity, and you simultaneously have the lack of restrictions. And I would also say that doing it separately, meaning doing that in the future, would give you 30 years. I mean, you would have to go through a full assessment process, and you would have to notice all the residents and landowners within the boundaries of the district and have a public hearing, and Mike could walk you through that process. But that being said, the additional, let's call it, if it's $200 per resident per year for 30 years, generates substantially more borrowing capacity today than trying to pull cash out of a 7 or 11-year maturity bond, because 200 a year for 30 years obviously adds to a lot more principal. And so by separating that, going through that process, you would have the ability to make all those determinations at your leisure without the restrictions that Mike mentioned, and you would be able to borrow more, albeit it would be a 30-year obligation. But not everybody lives in a home for 30 years. So when you sell, you would pass that benefit on to that obligation to pay those bonds back on to whomever you sell your home to.
Okay, thank you, Dylan. I understand that. Do we have any other questions or discussion within the board? All right, I will move to adopt that resolution.
2025-15.
Yes, as written.
Is there a second? Second by Joe.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Lucas and Brittany? So vote passes 3-2. So next,
Sorry, thank you everyone for your time. I appreciate it. The next steps will be finalizing the offering document. We'll go to market next week, try and lock you into a bond rate the following week, and we'll be back at the following board meeting to get everything signed up and pre-close.
Excellent. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you.
so next up, we have approval of the supplemental assessment methodologies for the refunding of the bonds. And I'll turn this over to my colleague, Kevin Plensler.
Thank you, Lynn. For the record, Kevin Plensler, PFM. Ms. Dillon properly, provided you the proper summary of kind of where we are in the process. As part of that process and working with FMS, they've provided us some preliminary numbers regarding each of the refundings for each of the bond series. And we provided you two methodologies. One's associated with your 2014 bonds, the other with your 2015, both in the process of being refunded as part of this action. And as you'll see in the documentation, we've updated your methodologies based on those preliminary numbers. As Dylan indicated, the savings are approximately, as he was mentioning, around 18%. on the Series 2014 bonds and around 14% on your Series 2015 bonds. In dollar terms, that represents approximately $300 in savings annually for each resident. That's subject to assessment. There's a little bit of range there based on your product types, as you'll see in the methodologies, but on average, it's about $300 in annual savings per year, and that'd be for the life of each of the bonds. So we've updated these methodologies consistent with the documentation as provided to us with respect to how the methodologies were previously constructed, and applied that. And the assessments are reasonably and equitably allocated. There's a benefit received from the district's property owners. So we're looking forward to continuing the process, and be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from the board? Oh, okay, I will, is there a resolution for,
No, just a motion
did-
to approve in substantial form, Series 2025 1 and 2 supplemental assessment reports.
did you have something to say, Mike?
No, Lynn said it perfectly.
Okay.
I do have a question.
He said,
Mike said it was fine, but what Lynn said was correct.
Okay, so I was looking at those charts that are in here.
Mhm.
And it shows each home and how much is going to be paid off. I mean, if their bond, let's say, is 4,000 now, and maybe it's 3,000 later, are they just getting a yearly savings?
Hard, from a saving, well, your assessments are done on an annual basis, so that we've calculated them, the savings on an annual basis, because you pay your assessments annually.
So, okay,
Right. The new bond would be issued that would pay off the old bond, and to pay this new bond off would require less taken from each resident each year to do it. So that
but
would,
wouldn't my bond, the amount that I owe, drop?
It will drop, it will drop incrementally proportionally for everyone. So that's correct. It will drop. Your
Okay.
assessment level, your annual payment will be reduced by approximately $300 a year.
Okay, thank you.
okay. So I will move as Lynn described.
is there a second? Second to approve in substantial form by Joe. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye. Fine.
Nay.
Nay for Brittany and Lucas.
You said nay, Brittany, or aye?
Aye,
How's
okay.
everybody? Yeah.
Brittany
Okay.
is no for Lucas.
Okay.
Alright, motion passes. All right, so we're over the financing items. Kevin, thank you for attending. And next up, we have discussion of the status of the transition from Infomark. So it's been a rocky week, but we're getting our boots on the ground. We have Berman here today that's doing your maintenance and landscape overview. Myself and Blake, as you guys have met when you guys came in, we're working internally to figure things out. Couple things that we've seen, we've gotten pavilion rentals. I'm not exactly sure how you guys handle them besides collecting the payment and issuing it. If you guys are having the district manager, is one board member appointed to approving and signing off on these, or the pavilion?
That was all done through the field service manager.
Okay. And then we've been receiving the boat rentals. We're trying to get with the company. I'm not exactly, there's a resident who runs okay.
I gave the contact information. I believe the correct people from Infomark were removed, and at least okay. Yeah.
Yep.
So we're here.
We're working through that. And then the only other system is the flock system. I have not received access to that, so I am still working on obtaining access, but I do not have access to that. So unless there's any other items that the board has for me that they see right away, please bring it up to me. But other than that, we're moving along. Lots of questions will come, but you guys have been great at answering them, so I do appreciate that.
And you'll let us know when you start up the boating safety classes again? Are they going to be required still?
Boating safety classes?
Yeah, my grandson is desperate to take the boat out.
They're working on it, I hear in the
All
background.
right. Yeah, no, I know.
So. All right, so next up, we have consideration of resolution 2025-16, amending the security policy.
And again, that is just changing the names on who has access to the system. Is that correct? Summary?
I believe so, Mike.
Yes, that's correct. Before you had a employee of Infomark that was the one that had access, and we're changing that to Lynn and her group to be able to have access to that system.
Right. Okay. I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have consideration of resolution 2025-17, designating the primary and local records office. This sets our office at 3501 Quadrangle Boulevard, Suite 270, Orlando, Florida, 32817 as your primary administrative office, and sets the principal headquarters here in Osceola counties. The only thing I was not able to find is your local records office. Do you guys know where you house in Osceola County, your local records?
My understanding was a celebration of the Infomark's office. Sandra DeMarco was the records contact within Infomark.
Okay, you guys didn't have one in Osceola County?
Celebrations.
It
Osceola
was it?
County.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we do not. So I will, if you guys with this resolution can grant me the authority to find somewhere in Osceola County to house those records, I would be greatly appreciated. So there'd be a motion to present and approve as I had the other items and give me the authority to find your local records office.
So moved. Oh,
Second by Joe. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have ratification of resolution 2025-18, designating the signatories for the district's operating bank accounts. This item has already been executed, and to keep things moving forward, just needs to be ratified by the board. This designates myself, or the chair, the vice chair, and myself as secretary, Jennifer Glasgow as treasurer, and the assistant secretaries of the district to keep district business moving forward.
second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have discussion regarding the agreement with Sunrise Deck and Dock LLC. District Council reached out to me and let me know that this vendor is refusing to sign our district contract that has statutory language in there that we need. It is a business decision for the board to decide whether you'd like us to go back out and find a new bid. District staff does not recommend, but it is a business decision for the board to not move forward with Sunrise Deck and Dock.
You're saying staff does not recommend
We do
moving,
not.
considering they did not want to sign our contract, which is done to protect us from,
Yep.
and the little history. At first, they refused the graduated payments. I gave a slight concession of saying, okay, we'd pay more upfront, and they still are refusing just based on the language we want them to agree to protect us. So I'm also in favor that we find there are other dock contractors out there, maybe that you have already worked with or have experience with, or Berman. I'm not happy with the response that we got. First trying to get all payment up front and then still giving us a hard time about the contract.
So what I would be looking for today is a motion to authorize the chair to, after we come back with proposal, if it's before the next board meeting, to approve an amount at a not to exceed of $13,000 and work with council to get a new contract grown. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have
Hey,
ratification.
Lynn,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry to slow stuff down, but can we also get a motion to rescind the approval of the proposal for Sunrise Deck and Dock?
The refusal?
What was that?
A motion to rescind the board's prior approval of Sunrise Deck and Dock's proposal.
I will move to rescind.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mike. Next up, we have ratification of the agreement for emergency sidewalk repairs on Schoolhouse Road and Primrose Willow Drive with Rose Paving. This item was brought up at the last meeting, and we were able to obtain a quote for $7,850. Another board member identified another spot, and they were already on site or about to be on site, and were able to stabilize at a cheaper rate for $550 for a total of $8,400. Your chair executed, and the work was already performed today. If there's no further questions, a motion to ratify.
I'll move.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have consideration of the facility reservation form to decorate the Harmony Town Square for the holiday season.
Okay, so I really like the idea. I just want to run it by council. Is there any issue? Well, okay, so first there's the question of the CDD owning or not owning the property that those streetlights are on, and is there any issue with the HROA being granted permission to hang banners on, commercial or otherwise? Or are we
So there are a
badly?
couple of issues. There are a couple of issues that we would want to look at. We haven't spent a lot of time looking at this. Quite frankly, we've been more focused on the transition and dealing with that. And we have some communities we do this. I mean, I think at least in some of the other areas, OUC is the one that actually owns the light poles, but on the streets. But if these are light poles that are owned by the district would have the authority to grant permission to have something mounted on those light poles. But if they're owned by OUC, then it's not something the district can consent to on behalf of OUC. So that's the first issue. The second issue is, when you allow private entities to come in and use public property for advertising, as we saw with the signs on the columns and things like that, it really, kind of raises the issue of, are you using, public property for really private benefit? I think you can probably get around that, and just by saying that they can't discriminate, and that if any business, and I don't know how you're going to be able to write this, but you're also going to have the issue of maybe a nonprofit wants to come in, and so it's kind of like, if you're going to allow one, you got to allow them all, and maybe that's okay. But those are really the two issues that these types of requests usually raise.
Okay, so the action would then be to verify that the streetlights that are being inquired about are, I mean, that sounds right to me, that it's OUC that actually owns them. I know we had we bought out some leases on some of those, but I guess that would be the question of verifying that we have the authority to grant permission. What's the rest of the board think?
Wait, just so I understand, Mike, did you say though that we just need to own the light bulb?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
What I said was that we need to verify who owns the light pole.
Light
Because if
bulb.
you're talking about attaching something to a pole, before I tell you it's okay, I should verify that you actually own it. Otherwise, you're saying, yes, put something on OUC's pole, and they have no say in it. And I don't want to put you in that position.
Do you remember in the past, they put banners on the light poles all the time?
Yeah, that one was developer, right?
Do what?
Yeah.
Or say that one part was removed from the verbiage of the request. And the CDD is not approving it. And if the HROA decided to do that anyways, that's not, we didn't consent to that, right? So I just think it would take away, if we find out that, that we don't own the light poles, then I guess I'll just talk to Kevin about my idea.
Okay, I mean, we could grant authorization pending that we confirm that we are able, that we do have clear ownership of and are allowed to do that, and that we're not overstepping something that OUC owns.
I think
Well-
we can work on this and bring it back at the next meeting with Mike's notes.
Yep.
I think we have enough time. Up to the board.
And for Mark, Joseph and I were actually working on the OUC, and he and Raul had gone out in the field and found all the poles that were on our bills. But then everything blew up and I never got a copy of that, but it exists somewhere. And if you can get your hands on it, then it would answer our questions. But Joseph doesn't have access to any of it anymore. I have talked to him.
Well,
So,
I mean, just we could have been paying the electricity bill for that pole, but if it breaks, it's OUC that comes out and fixes it. So there's still the question of ownership, even if we are paying.
okay, and then we have the convenience lighting contracts And that is also something we were trying to get copies of. I think I had mentioned that to you in one of my things. So
Well, also
anyway,
on our assessment, we had light lamp posts, right? So we just don't know which ones they are. So we do actually like maintain some of them. Do we own them? I don't know if that's actually,
they're
case.
long lease things, but yeah, we sort of own them, but
So,
well, we pay for them because it's on.
right.
okay, but I mean, are we okay? Just a direction to district management that we would like to consider this, but we want to make sure that we're in.
Right,
be able to do so.
right, yeah.
Can we just say that we approve pending that? That way we don't maybe have to wait for another meeting to get this approved? If Mike can find that, do that due diligence out before we meet next month, we can have that
I
approval.
mean, it sounds like we're all in favor of it.
Yeah.
Lucas, right? Okay,
Yeah,
so-
I think the message to the community is it's definitely gonna we're definitely gonna do this. We need to make sure that we're legally safe from a CDD perspective with the light poles. Make sure we have that from legal counsel. But yeah, I'm
Okay.
totally for this, obviously.
Okay, so I would move that pending confirmation of our authority to grant permission to put banners up on the street poles as requested by HROA, that we grant permission to do so.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have discussion of the draft ordinance regarding parking in the public right of ways.
Yeah, this is Mike. I can lead or I can follow. You tell me what you'd like.
Go ahead, Mike, lead.
Okay. So for many months, the board has been considering what they can do to improve the parking problems that are within the community. And I've given the opinion to the board that the CDD really doesn't have jurisdiction to regulate the parking within county right-of-ways. That's something that is required for the county to take action on. So the board, authorized me to reach out to the county, and the county actually came to a board meeting. They then provided some sample ordinances that they've approved in the past. We tried to take those sample ordinances and revise them into something that we felt was meeting what some of the concerns were of the community that we had heard. And so we drafted this ordinance, and it kind of got put to the side a little bit, one, to give the board more time to review it, and two, just because we were in the transition period. And it's important to note that this board cannot adopt this ordinance. What this board can do is it can approve the ordinance for purposes of us forwarding it to the county for the county to consider. And so the things that we're looking for input on today are, one, do you like this ordinance? Do you think it solves the concerns that the community has been raising? And then two, we need some direction in terms of, where no parking zones would be, because this ordinance envisions a map of no parking areas within the community. So I'm not sure that you're going to be in a position to approve this tonight, but I do think we need to have a discussion about it, because I've gone as far as I can without getting further board direction.
Okay. We have comments from anyone else on the board before I go?
Yeah, I just want to clarify, Mike, we're talking about along Five Oaks where there's legal parking with the white lines, that I guess goes from, from the west entrance to the east entrance, that whole strip there. Is that what we're considering here?
That's whatever the board tells me. I have it written as county right of ways, and then we would have no parking areas designated on the map. But what those areas are, that's up to the board to decide.
Just my opinion. I think the parking there is beneficial for people who have extra family and people that come to their house, but I don't think it's a place to park boats or trailers and stuff. It does get a little busy sometimes where people have parked those trailers and they don't have to move them, and they're just sitting there as a sore thumb. And with potentially down the near future of getting maybe the RV parking lot back open, that could be a spot for them to open it up. But that's my only concern, is just people parking either old cars or boats in trailers that just sit there for time and time.
And to be clear, this doesn't differentiate those recreational vehicles with a regular vehicle, does it? There's no distinction. It's just
It
vehicle.
does if they have over four, if they have over four wheels, they would be considered a dual rear wheel vehicle.
Right. So, right. So that would be
Okay.
right. So, making sure we're considering everything. So there are, I mean, some people will just leave trailers parked in that area, and a work van might not necessarily be a dual rear wheeled vehicle. So I'd say that maybe we want to possibly include those for consideration as well. My feedback at the time had been just that we maybe there's language on there being a designated parking area for those types of vehicles, and I mean, I don't know that we really have one right now until we're able to maybe make any progress on the RV lot.
Can I ask, is a trailer that is just sitting there considered a vehicle?
I would think you have to have an
Uh,
engine.
So maybe that would be the language that would keep them from just leaving trailers there.
Well, okay, so we're saying that we maybe want to make sure that trailers are included in the language we're saying, to make sure trailers
Well,
are
If
being.
it says only vehicles can park there, then that leaves out trailers.
Well, if I,
that are up, they're just sitting
if I
there.
could, section 4 of the draft or ordinance says the parking of any vehicle or trailer shall be prohibited in the following areas. And that's all times of day within the Osceola County right of way, which is marked as no parking. And then also within Osceola County right of way between the hours of 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. So that would prevent, any overnight parking by trailers or vehicles at that time. Now, can we take out vehicle and just put in trailer? We could do that if that's what the board is desiring.
No, that's all right.
Well, no, I wouldn't feel comfortable with it saying vehicle. So that I'm understanding correctly, then this verbiage would not allow for anyone to park their car overnight there?
On
That would prohibit
on Osceola County right of way, that is correct, but it can be changed. This is your ordinance you're proposing to the county. I've just had to take a first draft at it based on community input, but you all have the power to change this quite a bit.
Well, if you're talking there in Five Oaks, I think we need to leave it open to cars, because that's where the people from the 55 and older, where their guests park. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I mean, yeah,
So I think, is there a way we can allow cars there
well,
overnight,
yeah, we
but
just have
not?
to get the verbiage
Yeah,
changed, right?
yeah.
Right. Okay. So I think at the very least, direction, Mike, would be to change it so it's trailers that we're saying can't be parked overnight. Are we saying anything positive or negative relating to like commercial work vans?
If you're asking me, then we have stuff
I'm
in
sorry,
there
Mike.
dealing
I'm
with that
I'm
stuff.
facing the rest of the board, asking if that's what we
Okay.
want to include, that like a provision for marked commercial vehicles or not, in addition to dual rear wheeled and overnight trailers.
No, in my opinion, I don't think so. I think I don't know how to implement this, and I don't know if Mike does either, but there's sometimes on Five Oaks or other county roads where you'll have cars that have been sitting there for months, and there's really nothing we can do. We could reach out to the sheriff's office and stuff. But
Right. Or does it become a code enforcement issue maybe?
But that's my only other concern besides trailers parking.
Okay, so so again, there's so what are our thoughts? I mean,
I
are
think
we
we need to make some changes.
right? So what's the direction we want to give Mike about those changes? Oh, or-
Well, I think we have to remove from section 4, line A, remove the word vehicle.
Oh.
We could say, can we change the verbiage to say maybe trailer, boat, recreational vehicle, and just not use just vehicle?
Just take out vehicle.
Yeah,
Um,
we can specify others, like obviously boats.
could we go the other angle and just say that it's restricted to passenger vehicles?
That sounds way better.
I mean, but then maybe
Laundry list, yeah.
an
I like that.
RV, does an RV count for that? A big, airport shuttle van? I mean, trying to, second and third guess everything that might be, need to be covered by this.
Yeah.
So Mike, does that sound, were there any of the examples we got from the county more like a inclusive versus an exclusive list?
Not really. And quite frankly, the ones that the county provided were really more dealing with HOAs and sometimes even, different types of road situations than you all have out there. I mean, I think this is all really good feedback I'm getting from the board right now. I don't want to, stop it, but if that's what the board has for feedback, I can make some revisions to this and send this back to the board for the next meeting, and then you all can consider it then. But these are all good discussion points that I can incorporate into the document.
And we have lots of interested residents that are hearing this conversation that, yes, we'll talk about email issues later, but you can get that feedback to us. We can, in the next, we finally have a month between meetings. We're hopefully back to a normal meeting cadence here. So if we get that additional feedback from residents, that maybe something we didn't consider that is at least worth incorporating for us to potentially review and then ultimately send to the county, who's the one that actually has any teeth that can enforce anything at the next meeting. So shouldn't be any motion. We're not accepting this, but you have your feedback, Mike?
I do. Very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, just one quick comment. And then I see the map of the no parking areas will be in Exhibit A. Mike, is that correct? And then that's just not there because we're in a draft.
Well, we need to discuss that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the length of 5 Oaks. I mean, through the entire east side of the neighborhood to the roundabout, right? That's where, right. And Lucas, you'd said between the entrances, like between the west and east entrances. I mean, I'd rather.
No, it's all the county roads, right? That's what we can.
Well, the county has everything that's not an alleyway that we own, and we're asking them to add this ordinance for enforcement on their roads, which again, so that's the main boulevards, side streets, anything that's not an alleyway. I mean, there's street parking on, say, Green Neighborhood, Dark Sky. There's a lot of that, and I don't think we're talking about doing anything targeting that. Feedback from the residents has been the commercial, the trailers, the larger vehicles along 5 Oaks on the east side of the neighborhood. Do we just want to say that's all that we're covering with this ordinance? That's the entire map.
That's by far the biggest issue. At the entrance, at the east entrance on 5 Oaks, it does get
Yes,
congested
semis
sometimes.
can
Yep,
park there. Yep.
I would say if it's possible to include 5 Oaks also, that would be great, but definitely that back section needs to be the priority.
Really, it's the entire length of 5 Oaks, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's from that entrance all the way across. I mean, there aren't usually vehicles parked, but it's wide enough that there could be. So it may be just the simplicity is 5 Oaks from the east entrance all the way back to the North Lake roundabout.
Well, hold on, because if we're gonna make a contract or this document that's saying that you can't park your trailer just on this section of the Osceola County property, it needs to be across the board. Like this is on all our streets. I understand there's a certain area where yes, it's very bad down 5 Oaks towards North Lakes, but we're gonna implement this rule on that section, we need to highlight and give Mike detailed mapping and highlight the areas where there is parking and that we want to implement this rule. Because we can't pick and choose, okay, well, you can park your trailer here, but you can't park your trailer here. Like that doesn't make sense.
I recommend that too, because they're just gonna move their vehicles from that part that they were parking on to the other part.
But the parts of this Harmony that are covered by the HROA has parking restrictions and can find them within those boundaries.
Right, well, but since we're trying to go above to the county, and we just want to make sure that in doing that, we're not creating loopholes that push the issue.
Yeah, well, we could do it on all of them because that would take some of the burden off the HOA from having to enforce it.
Okay, so
Is it that simple to just change the verbiage to cover all of our county roads?
Right now, it's written to cover all county right of way. If I wanted to be more restrictive, I would have to be more descriptive in terms of what we're doing. And the map was supposed to identify if there's any areas where there shouldn't be parking at all along those roadways. So for example, in other communities, you may not want parking at a sharp curve. You may not want parking within so many feet of a very busy intersection. So those types of things that we would want to put in that map, and certainly, no overnight parking at, district facilities, pond banks, things like that. So.
okay, so, all right, that sounds good. Do you have any other questions or any more direction for next meeting, Mike?
No, I'm good. I think that I'll go ahead and try to encapsulate what all the board members have mentioned, and we'll see if we get a better version of this at the next meeting.
All right.
Thanks, Mike. And next up, we have discussion of the garden club lot rent. I'll turn that over to Joe. Yeah,
Well, I don't know anything.
were you the one who wrote me about it?
Well, I just said
Okay.
that they asked me to get it clarified so that they're doing everything legally and properly.
You want to just highlight the board on what, I sent it over to
Oh.
Dan. Dan has the email, just what the problem
Oh,
is and how we
okay.
want to handle
Right.
it.
Well, I mean, we all were emailed by Marilyn. We're all aware of the issue of how it's been done, and I guess the recommendation from council that there might be issues with how that's being done. What we need to decide by the September
30th.
20th.
All right, Mike, can you clarify what the issue is that we've been doing this for, I don't know how long, a decade or more, and now we're finding out there's an issue now?
Sure. I haven't been with the board for a decade, and there's quite a few things I've seen that I haven't agreed with. So first, the main issue is that you have somebody that's not a employee of the board or employee of the management company who is collecting and handling public funds. That's a concern. And I'm sure if you ask your auditor whether or not that was a best practice, your auditor would have the exact same concern. So I'm just bringing that to the board's attention, that public funds should be handled by the people that have insurance, that are familiar with government accounting, and have the processes in place to make sure that the revenue is tracked and the expenses are tracked as well. I say that not meaning to disparage anybody who's been involved in this in the past, but it's quite simply, if I'm ever asked the question, should private people who do not have a contract with the district and do not have insurance be handling public funds, my answer is always going to be no.
Okay,
Okay, so-
understood. And then how much funds are exchanged throughout the month for this garden lot? Do we know that off the top of the head?
Right. Dan commented from so saying for the record, Dan commented from the audience. It's usually collected up front, and that's for the entire year, and that's the September 20th that we're coming up on, and it's like less than $2,000. My question would be, within PFM, is there maybe a point of contact that we could say this is the person that would need to be doing that Well, go
Let
ahead.
me just ask, because I was sort of working with the previous treasurer slash president of the garden committee. And so when I had gone to our previous management company about some documentation, that's when the issue came up with legal, letting me know that that wasn't kosher, I guess we'll call it. And to my understanding, Joseph said that he had put together a document listing Marilyn as official treasurer, and so that made it okay. I don't know if you have access to that documentation. I don't know if that's legally binding, but again, I had gone through this with a couple months ago, and I was under the impression that the right document was now in place.
Okay, so, but that would have been some sort of agreement that Infomark came to with Maryland.
Naming Marilyn as right, so
Right.
that would have to now convey, obviously, to the next.
Right. Well,
treasurer
and
slash
that was the question I was bringing up. So within PFM, what do we think would be the right mechanism to collect resident funds for use of the community garden, which is CDD property? Knowing that we also at times disperse funds if it is for expenses related to the operation of that garden.
There's like monthly or maybe quarterly reimbursements.
So PFM only does cash, or we don't do cash, and we only do check or money order. So I would say that that needs to come in, whether we create a form or something, and that comes over. Your district accountant is actually on the phone. You have a designated district accountant. Verona, I don't know if you have any input on this, but I would say that a check comes into us, we allocate it to the garden lot, we make a line item for it, and that's where those funds are they for the district to use? Is it go back to this person spending money on it? I'm not exactly sure, so.
Well, they have some expenses throughout the year, usually a little more than what they collect, not always. So it's, we actually have a line item in the budget for a little bit for the garden club. Right, right.
The idea is the revenue, right? The idea of the revenue. Hold on. Let's work this out. We have the idea is that the funds from the garden plot rentals covers expenses, and again, it's all on CDD property. So it sounds like we have at least the mechanism in place within PFM to handle that. It's just a matter of coordinating with the garden committee how to make sure the people that want to and have been renting garden plots are able to get in touch with that correct person at PFM to pay for their year. And
Yeah, I think it's as simple as sitting in, creating a simple form and attaching the check and paying that, and we can track that through your financials.
Right, like similar to the facility reservation form or the access card, if the resident could just make that payment directly to.
Yeah, I would recommend that hands down, and that would go through your financials. You guys will see that those funds come in and there will be allocated to a line item. So that would be my recommendation moving forward. And we can get that cleared up pretty quickly. Just a simple form, mail in a check and get it to us. And
so what would be your suggestion for the reimbursements?
Is that someone purchasing on a credit card, submitting an itemized receipt, and someone within the board approving that?
I think you approve them. I think they hand in a receipt.
Well, it didn't even come across, me personally. It was usually just, most of the time they're known in advance. It's, the garden wants to buy such and such. And, I don't think the simplest way would go. Who was that?
Yeah, I would think the simplest way is a credit card to the treasury, who's responsible for purchasing items needed for the garden, with an itemized receipt sent to PFM with a budget per month. And if they needed to exceed that, then they'd have to write some kind of notice saying why they needed extra funds. And I think that would cover most of all the details needed for.
Is that all workable from PFM's point of view?
Do you have any input on this line item?
That will work perfectly for us using a credit card.
Okay.
I don't want to hinder the garden folks getting stuff that they need.
Right. Okay.
And,
It sounds
and
like, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Lucas.
yeah, and just, making it easy for the people who are contributing to the garden, and then for the people who are taking care of the garden. I don't want to make things more complex
Yeah.
for them, but I want to
Marilyn
give
was
them
saying it's how it was done at some point in the past. It sounds like PFM's on board with that. So,
Okay.
I mean, Dan, or everything sound good to you guys?
Yep, itemized receipt with it. We can cut you a check back. I mean, we don't give credit cards.
Okay. Okay. So yeah.
We don't give credit cards with any limit. So whoever would have to purchase them and we would refund them with a check.
Okay.
The other option,
well, I wasn't expecting that.
Right.
I was expecting a
Yep,
credit card.
That's no problem at all.
Yep.
And then we're tracking it with a check and it's going through the district
Right.
accounting.
Yeah.
Easy cleanup.
Yep.
and can they still collect the checks and turn them in?
No, they need to come to our office.
Well,
So give him a microphone.
well, okay. So, well,
Or
the question is,
repeat what
they
he said.
they're doing this in person. Yeah, go ahead. You got a mic now.
We're kind of following all that right now. We have two forms. One is the waiver of liability and the other is the actual lease of that. And they normally give us check. Now, sometimes there's cash, but we've got to try to stop that and have either money orders and or check, one or the other. And if they can't, then, we'll figure out something. But
do we
we've
think-
always taken that and then that has gotten turned into your, not your company, but
Well-
before it was Infomark, and then they logged it in.
So is it an issue whether it's the person dropping it off in the mailbox or they hand it to the garden committee?
Yeah,
who
that's
then
kind
hand
of the
drops it
thing
into
I'm
the
asking.
mailbox? I mean, it's still, if it's a check or money order, it's not cash changing hands. It's still made to the order of, and everything's
Exactly.
I
That's,
mean, Eckert, if there's no problem from you with them making out to the Harmony CDD and then one person mailing it to me, I don't see a problem, but I'll wait for Eckert just to say yes or no.
sure.
No, I think that's fine. As long as it's not cash, I would not accept cash, period.
Yes, that's correct for PFM. We do not
agree.
accept cash.
okay. Oh. Okay. Right. Oh. Okay.
That's okay.
So it sounds like everything's in place for PFM to receive the money. Okay. Yeah. So I think everything's, are we all set with the garden committee? Sounds like?
Are they okay with using their own personal credit card and then getting
Dan?
reimbursed?
Dan,
Future?
I'm sorry.
does that, just so we're clear, right? That works for you using your own personal credit card and submitting a receipt
That would
for
be great.
Okay.
That would be easier than it is right now.
Yes,
Yep.
Perfect.
perfectly fine.
And we've always given receipts and
Yep.
that back to them.
Okay.
And we talked before, we can talk after.
Sure.
Thank
Very-
you.
all right.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, if there's no further discussion on garden club rent, we'll move on to the consideration of the proposals for pond maintenance. At the last board meeting, we are aware that Infomark was handling the ponds. The first thing I will notate is that every vendor on site stated how horrible the condition of the ponds are. We reached out, Berman, Eddie is here to speak also. And we've got a different array. Your district engineer's here and we talked briefly about these. The only vendor that came in according to the scope of services is Dragonfly Pond Works. I personally work with them. I do not work with the other two vendors, nor has your district engineer, and I don't believe Berman has either. No. So this is your monthly cost for, I wouldn't say that Lake Doctors or Tigris provided a correct scope of work. Your district engineer provided us the map detailing what ponds are included within the Harmony CDD versus the golf course or anything of that nature. So the only one I would say before consideration today would be the Dragon Pond Works. I don't know what the budget holds if you guys were paying Infomark to do the poorly treated ponds or if, sorry.
We definitely had a line item for, I think we left it as ponds and invasive remediation. That was enough to cover this that we're saying here. I know I don't know if we have a word on what kind of invasive remediation we might be on the hook for this year as opposed to going forward. David, do you have any comment on, have you seen these proposals, and can you give us just your thoughts?
We also had a few vendors that took care of the cattails outside of Infomark. So that was an additional cost we incurred on the golf course ponds. But to piggyback and Lynn, the exhibit we gave, there is 47 or 48 total ponds. Some are HOA, some are golf course, but there is 21 CDDs, and Dragonfly had the correct pond numbers in their proposal.
Okay,
And-
and then, I'm sorry, and back to David real quick. So, and since just because we had that as the same budget line item as invasives, if I'm remembering correctly, do we have any update from our consultant there?
I don't know, sitting here, if Catherine Bowman, the wetland scientist, got everything she asked for from Infomark before they transition out. I gotta make sure, I forget the gentleman's name that did the spraying, but he was the one that was gonna pull together the
Right.
forms for her to go through.
Brad, okay. Okay, so no news, no motion to take there regarding the invasives. We have the amount earmarked in the budget for the pond maintenance. This would cover the entire year. I guess the question would be, if we were to approve, then council would draft up a contract. Are we expecting this would all be paid up front?
They do monthly installments, and I also wanted to know, I work with Dragonfly. They come back if there's a resident calls and says the pond is turning brown, it looks weird. They include that in their maintenance. They come back free anytime, not just when they spray once a month. They come back and they take care of the ponds.
Liking what I hear so far. Do we have any other board comments?
With the Tigris one, obviously it's, half, is that because did I understand correctly? They didn't count the 25 CDD ponds, so it's not accounting for that, or how many are they accounting for there?
Eddie reached back out to them, and were they trying to redo their pond, they were gonna send a revision.
Okay, but do we know how many ponds this proposal includes?
No, and we asked for them to detail that out to make sure we understood the scope of work. And we have not received that back.
Okay.
And then I believe the district engineer is speaking with him earlier. He has not worked with this company before, and always, he states, he's not always thrilled on the lowest bidder coming in.
I mean,
Yeah.
considering we have more than enough set aside in the budget for that, and we have sounds like good reports of this vendor's performance, I'm willing to go with the Dragonfly
I
Pond Works.
don't think that we should always go for like the most affordable option, but I think when it's like half, we should maybe wait just to get clarification, because what if it accounts for 20 and we're only having to add a little bit more rather than almost doubling it? I think, does it hurt to maybe wait for that clarification?
The question would be if there is a time limit on any of those quotes. And again, if we're still in the warm season, if we're,
I don't-
sorry, we have someone in the audience hold on. Can you, yeah.
Is there a resident?
I'm not sure. Can you identify yourself and say your name for the record and association?
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Keith Dorsey. I'm a homeowner on Clay Brick. As you guys are talking about the pond, I was curious. One of the ponds that's on the golf course there used to be a functioning fountain that doesn't work anymore. So is this included in what you guys are talking about with?
This would be for just the like any kind of chemical or herbicide, or just treatment of like algae growth in the ponds. The fountains haven't been talked about in probably 3 or 4 years. That doesn't mean it's something we can't potentially bring up.
So
it's
basically,
a-
no, that's
Right.
not included here, but we can talk about that.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, thank you. All right, so, yeah, I mean, my thoughts are,
Well, can I
Uh,
ask one question before I go on that? On Tigris, there are two quotes.
Because one's for, yeah, you saw.
So if you see one says 18 treatments per year with twice
Right.
monthly service, April through September.
Right.
So that's what they're proposing for that one. And then the 12 treatments per year is just once a month.
So, so and how much was, well,
If
I
you
thought
go
Brittany
to-
said twice as much or half as much. So I was looking for something that those numbers worked.
If you
Well,
go
the-
to page 484, I provided you a breakdown.
Tigris for
Oh.
12 treatments a year is
Okay.
35,000, whereas Dragonfly is 64. Now, I don't know how many ponds they included in that, with it apparently what we don't have clarification on.
I'm not seeing it on here. They say commence service within 30 days. Was there a period of validity for this quote from Dragonfly?
They did not state. I don't, if it's not in here, I can.
No, it says this offer contains, I think it's until September 22nd. Let's see. The offer contained herein is drawn, and this agreement shall have no further force and effect unless executed and returned by the customer to the company on or before September 22nd.
Okay, and I mean, I don't think that's unreasonable. I mean, we are still in the, warm growing season. It's potential that by delaying another month, I mean, all of these would potentially come in as a higher amount depending on how much worse the problem gets. My thought is, again, it would have been nice if Tigris had given us a more of an apples to apples comparison, had answered our questions, but even that, just both our engineer and new manager have reached out and haven't gotten an answer in time for this, and this, that.
We did let them know we were presenting today too.
And when did we ask them for clarification?
We asked them yesterday for clarification on their proposal.
Well, to be fair, 24-hour turnaround might not be enough. And I don't know. I don't know if $30 plus thousand of possible savings, we can probably wait a month.
What's the rest of the board think? I'm seeing shaking it.
24 hours is enough to clarify.
I-
mean, can we possibly wait till September?
Well, I mean, these meetings are once a month. We'd have to, and we ran into this issue with the sidewalks where we didn't vote in time and that was another time delayed and we ended up, it wasn't a huge, and
And you have Berman behind us and their comment is if they couldn't read the scope that we provided them, do you want them doing your ponds?
Well, fair,
That's
but
right.
I don't
Right.
have skin in the game one way or the other. I'm just
Well-
wondering if we gave them the scope of work. I mean, it's very possible that the quote they gave us does encompass all 25 ponds. They just didn't write that number in there. So it could just be something
If-
that simple.
And if it were something that simple and it's for this potential business, you would think that it would, I don't know, we're going back and forth here.
Yeah.
My thought
my
is,
stance
Question.
for $30 plus thousand of savings, we can wait a month, I think.
Or is this a yearly contract that we're signing or can we just okay.
Yes. Lucas, do you have any comments, questions?
David,
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that Dragonfly did their homework and they're very detailed oriented and they've broken out all the ponds and the details that needed to be done. And Tigris has just blatantly just put an enveloped proposal out there with no detail on what needs to be done. So yeah, I'm for Dragonfly's proposal.
all right, so, any other discussion or are we ready to
Well,
vote on?
David's got some.
before I get into reading all the fine print, if we don't like Dragonfly, can we get out?
There's always a 30-day clause that
Oh, okay.
district council typically puts in there for cause or without cause.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I have not worked with any of the other vendors. I particularly work with Dragonfly out in Polk County, and I can tell you that we had a nightmare property and they turned it around, and they are very responsive. And the best thing about them is that they do go back out if any residents complain. They don't charge you to go back out. They go back out willingly and provide you an update on what's going on with the pond.
All right, and David has some.
Oh,
My problem is, once you have exposed the prices for everybody, then you're having somebody come after the facts. I just think the cat's out of the bag already, and so I support district management and the board's decision, but I would go Dragonfly.
more work went into the quote. They, and hearing the feedback from new management that there's, beyond what we were requesting, that there's, follow-up service if there are continued issues. I think that's more than enough reason, again, considering it fits in the budget. I like Dragonfly. Any other discussion, or are we ready to vote?
Be clear, I'm not saying I don't like Dragonfly. I just feel like we don't have enough information to make a decision that, again, is $30,000+ difference.
Okay. All right. Well, I will move to approve the council to, the motion would be to direct council to write about a contract to engage with Dragonfly for the amount that was in the quote of
$64,800.
A second.
Okay. Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. All right.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. All right, next up, we have consideration of the agreement with Molly for the deposit relating to the cost of preparation of a license agreement for her pool installation. Mike?
Sure, be happy to address this. A resident, Molly Forstner, wants to build a pool in her backyard. We were originally told that the area behind her backyard was owned by the CDD. That was not correct. It's actually owned by the golf course. However, in order to get to the area behind her house, the construction vehicles and trucks, and most likely cement trucks, will have to cross over the district's the curbing and the sidewalk to be able to get to that area. And so we prepared a agreement whereby she would post a deposit with the CDD, and that would cover the cost of preparing the license agreement, this deposit agreement, as well as any damages to the district's infrastructure that we'd be responsible for doing as a result of that construction equipment going over CDD property. So unless the board has any questions, we'd just be looking for a motion to approve this agreement.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion.
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. And next up, we have consideration of switching to Valley Bank. We have been in contact with Bank United. They're more of, if you bring clients, you get a better deal. We do not work with Bank United. We actually work with Valley Bank. They are offering, you guys do not, and Verona, correct me if I'm not wrong, you guys do not earn interest on your account, and they are offering you guys 4% of interest to switch with them. They also charge us no fees for banking with them. So we have a great relationship with them, and that would be our recommendation. Verona, is there anything you want to add?
Right. So I spoke with the team at Bank United last week, and basically they were telling us the arrangement that they have is through Infomarks. So they give us a credit to offset the fees that they charge. So it's a net zero impact, meaning you neither earn interest or incur costs. However, in working with us, they're unable to confirm whether this arrangement will continue. We asked them for documentation to let us know what it is that they're offering, and to date, they have not responded. I reached out to Valley Bank, and they were offering us a 4% interest, which is what we get on all our other CDD account. And this is a regular checking account, not a money market, nothing, just a basic checking account. And you get all your fees are waived. So you pay no fees, but you get interest on on your fund. And you also get what they consider, there's no minimum balance. So with Bank United, you have to have a minimum of $250,000, I think, let's say 250,000. But with Valley, if you have 1,000, you're getting 4% interest. If you have $1 million, you're getting 4% interest. So my recommendation would be to switch your account because it's benefit you more.
Let's hope that minimum balance is never an issue. Mike, anything raise your eyebrows with that banking issue?
No, I think it's a prudent financial decision that your manager is recommending that will actually generate some revenue for the district that's passive. So I certainly think you should consider it seriously. And I've had a couple other districts that have switched over too because of the 4%, because that's significant to get that on a checking account.
Yeah. I'll move to approve the switch to Valley Bank.
Second.
Second by Brittany. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have consideration of a proposal for website services with B Global Tech. I did email you guys earlier this week. I tried to work with Infomark to have a smooth transition of your emails. They use a one-off system where they purchase domains through GoDaddy and then it works with Microsoft Exchange. I'm still waiting for clarification on them. I thought they should just transfer over, but apparently you guys pay monthly for this service for your emails is what we're seeing. On our end, it's $23 per domain. It was like $500 a month. You guys also currently have a website with Campus Suite. They kind of just post things. They don't name things correctly. It's kind of all over the place. This vendor we work with 95% of our districts on. He curtails to us. We get a great response time. Also included in this proposal is email service. So you're not paying extra for it. It's all encumbered some in your website. It's a one-stop shop. So he does charge a one-time fee to create the website of $1,500. He is comparable to what you guys were currently paying. You guys currently pay annually $3,064.80. That includes your website maintenance and your ADA compliance review. Our vendor said that he would do the same thing and it came in at $3,000 per year. The only nuance is you guys paid up front to your vendor for some reason. I'm not sure why you guys weren't paying monthly. But I spoke with Mike and he believes from reviewing the contract, there should not be any nuance from providing them a 30-day termination notice and us hopefully receiving the other half of our funds back. So what that would do is encumber some all into one and a new district, hopefully streamlining, getting everything up on the district website moving forward and you guys having email access as soon as possible. I am still waiting on an update from Infomark on how we can get this change rectified. I did let them know that I don't know if you guys have gone in and you can see all your emails still. You guys just can't send or receive. Okay. So I let them know that you can still see yours. You can still see yours.
Obviously nothing new is coming.
Okay, yes. So I need to still be able to download all those emails and
Right.
Jennifer at Infomark said she would look into it. I just have not received an update. I spoke to her on Monday. This is my recommendation, but it's up to the board, how you guys see fit.
Joe, you were you've been looking at some website stuff. Do you have any thoughts specifically? I mean,
Well, nothing's going to make me happy. I know. I had been starting to work with Campus Suite and they were starting to add some things, but then some of the stuff they added, they just threw on there.
That's what
And so, right. And so we did talk about that. And my problem with the Global Tech, is that the right word? Is because I went onto some of the other CDD websites to look at them and I don't see like if our pool has to be closed for a couple days, I didn't see any places where there were no.
We, the district manager, run your website. We don't, V Global Tech host your website, your domain, your emails. They're available to us 24/7.
But are you going to put that stuff on there then if they're?
Absolutely.
Oh, I guess nobody else had any notices.
Berman's already going to tell me and I can put an update on there.
So would it be like a banner that would show up if the residents go on the
Typically we post it if I have other pools that are closed. I post it in big red letters, letting you know an update. I'm very informative. Berman has stated that we can possibly obtain emails. So the CDD cannot send out blast emails unless you request to be on our blast. Whereas Berman might be able to collect emails from their standpoint and email blast people. I've seen you guys have multiple HOAs. In other CDDs, I work with the HOA and they email blast for me.
Right.
So having that CAM's information is very important to me. So those are things I will eventually
Well,
get
okay,
to.
okay.
So we can email blast, it just can't come from the CDD, but other avenues do collect.
Yeah,
And
okay.
then the 1,500 upfront, so are we gonna be getting a new like a new completely redesigned website?
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
that's fun.
So in these emails, I've never
need that.
done this. We only work with V Global, so I'm not this GoDaddy and this Microsoft Exchange and all these things are very foreign to me. I asked for clarification from Infomark. I just haven't received it. This is,
I mean, well, you've seen our website. It's hard to navigate.
Yes.
Things
Yeah.
are weird. So are you more user-friendly?
that would be
version
my
would
goal
be-
with this new website.
Yeah.
Well,
Great.
I will say the historicalharmony.org is still operating, so he keeps that up to
Yeah.
date, thank heavens, because that's where I go.
Same.
Especially for the maps. He has the best maps on there that show so many things.
And this is just to establish the hosting and all, and the back end of it. So that is, we can address that, refine that as we go forward. I mean,
Right.
if this is a recommendation, there's a chance of us getting the prorated amount back from the previous.
Yeah.
I don't see why we don't do this. So I,
Typically, I just, my train of thought is I would typically like to get a second proposal, something to compare, but being that they're recommending it and I know that we need it, I'm willing to go for this.
Well,
without-
There
without
aren't a
it.
lot of options out there either that are the ADA compliant
Yeah.
ones, yeah.
well, and again, the actual creation and maintenance of the website, that's in our maintenance fee. That's already, and so this is the, considering they're already providing that service, this is their recommendation of their preferred host. And that it's in line price wise with what we've already been doing. It's a slam dunk for me. I will move to approve the V Global proposal.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. And next up, we have a review of your district's financial position and budget to actual year to date. I will note we have no comment because they were prepared by Infomark. We have not dove into your financials, so this is strictly just for your viewing. And once we do, hopefully next month, we'll be up and running. It'll be in our standard, our forms. We'll be in a much better position to advise. So next up, the landscaper provided some proposals. So the first consideration is a proposal 182981 for troubleshooting zones 2, 3, and 6, and the amount of $390.
Do we want to have Nick come up here and answer any questions if we about these? Yep.
Nick Nesney with United Land Services.
Nick.
Hey. That was 2981 for the zones.
So troubleshooting, there's a small clock. We can't get these to with any power to them. So we need to track them. They're about 5 to 10 inches in the soil.
Right.
So that's what that cost is for on the first one.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
Do 'em all
let's
in
go
order.
through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
At the Harmony Pool right over here on the side of the building, it is no longer working. When we first came on site, this was one of the ones that we did not replace. This is a smaller timer. It has 10 zones, but we also have to track a couple of zones on that one as well. We have a device we track when we find them, we replace the solenoid, possibly the valve, and then everything should be functioning. This was identified on our wet check.
How long has it been down?
This looks like it was down because we have reports of it running earlier this summer. So when they went and did the other wet check, they seen that it wasn't, then they started tracking, and then they actually tested, as you can see in the picture, and showed that there was no voltage. It could be due to a storm. Something could have gotten in it.
The next proposal is for a 4-inch mainline reroute for $1,101.82.
This main line we had fixed previous, but the roots, it's only 3 inches away from the tree, so we proposed to move it out. When we dug it up, we noticed that Cervello, the company before us, also had made repairs to this area. So to avoid doing this again, we're gonna move it about 8 feet out, so that way it's fine. This is on Caprior.
So this is gonna be a more long-term permanent solution.
Yeah, there's no roots where we're gonna put it
Okay.
in this particular section. Now, the entire length of Caprior, I mean, we all know that's where the main line is, but this seems to be a problem area.
Next, we have 2 4-inch mainline breaks for $1,820.
This is out here at the road. If you guys recall, a year or two ago, we had the construction. I can't prove it, but when they put in, and I've tried, when they put in the tarp with their spikes, I think they jarred the line because they're close to each other. And in previous months, we had repaired 2 or 3, and they were along the same line. So when we do the wet check, we'll find the 4-inch leak, and then we lose a lot of pressure down. So hopefully this is the only 2, but as we fix it, we will continue the inspection.
All right, and next up you have your September flower rotation for $3,500.
That's the contracted price. As you guys know, we would go with the spring rotation.
Yeah. I don't have an issue with any of these. Rest of the board have any questions? All right, I will move to approve all 5 proposals, 2981, 3037, 2029, 2074, and 4600 for the amounts listed in the agenda.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, we have a review of the fleet.
Oh, just one quick comment, Nick. In your customer box column, you still have Infomark AP in there. You could just update that to whatever PFM
Yeah,
needs
in your
that to
box.
be.
I will, and once this is completed, I will update the district manager as well
Yeah.
to let them know it's done.
Yeah, we still have the staff reports as well. So this is just going through the proposals for extra spending.
And just so you know, I got 2 resident comments last week of how great the neighborhood looks.
Thank you. We love to hear that.
Thank you.
And I'm turning it over to your VP Samantha Whipperman.
So we, just, a lot of this is just information we found in the first week. We did a bunch of inspections, and I just wanted to make sure you guys had some of this information as we bring some things forward. So we went through, I guess, what is the storage area of all the stuff you own, which is more of a graveyard. So yeah, so I had my mechanic come out. We went through the vehicles. We found some things are in need of repairs. So we'll get some quotes and present some of that. And if you guys want to keep them running, we have enough operational right now. You know, you have your generators working, pressure washers, small one kind of out of service. And then there's various equipment. You have 2 junk utility vehicles on site. So
Yeah,
we're
I was
gonna,
gonna tell you about those. We actually
We're
voted
gonna tell you about this.
not too long ago, a few months ago, to junk them. But I think we were told that we couldn't give them away. And because it's government money.
right.
Right.
And Raul's tried several people, had people lined up, and then they wouldn't show up, and it's just been hard to get rid of it.
Yeah, so our thought was my mechanic was gonna strip them for all the parts he could use and knows he can use on other stuff. That way we have it, because that's what we typically try to do. And then the ask, I guess, from us was, you know, do you want a list of things we think just need to go in the garbage and we can clean up back there a little bit and get some of the stuff out of there? There's a lot of stuff in the sheds. It's just piling up, and I want to get it down to what works, have an inventory, and be able to give you a full inventory of that.
The fence panels, there were fence posts and fence panels, and we had held on to them in case we ever put any more fencing up, because we used to have fence all along the highway. And we took it down because so
Yeah.
much of it was falling apart and it was too expensive to redo it all. So I don't know if the board wants to hang on to that still, but if that's one of the things.
Well, I want to hang on to anything that can be used.
Well,
in the
you'll let us
future.
know what's
Yeah,
just
and we'll
not
just say,
even-
yeah, like there's a couch out there. I don't know why. I'm assuming just to hang out. Like, can I, you
Someone
don't want
else-
that, right?
Someone else might have done that
Right.
for all we know, yeah.
It's just,
But-
I don't like messes, so I
Yeah,
just want
it's
to,
okay, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's for the garden people.
That's where Dan hangs out.
I knew it. So that's basically just our report of that stuff. We'll provide you, hey, this is what it's gonna take to fix some of this stuff, and this is the stuff we think are useless and we want to get rid of, and here's your inventory so we can track it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right,
Are
so
you gonna do the
next,
same with the boats?
What was that?
Will you be doing the same with the boats at some point? And all
Jonathan
the-
can do that.
The life jackets and.
Yeah, we can
there's
go
a
through
ton of
things.
stuff over there.
I'm all for cleaning up and not having.
Well, and I always have been asking for inventory lists, so now.
Yeah,
we're
we have
finally gonna
our
get it.
work order program. We can tag and track
Yeah,
everything, and
yeah,
that way we can track the repairs we do, anything we do.
That's great because, yeah, because every time there's a changeover, then nobody knows what happened before. So this will be perfect. Thank you.
I'm not going anywhere.
Sounds like a dream.
next up, we have the Berman inspection report. And Samantha, I don't know if you want to introduce your team of fellows we have behind us.
I guess. Jonathan is your GM. He's on site. He's overseeing the crew and will be the person you ask all your questions to. Two of the maintenance techs that were previously here with Infomark asked to stay on. We worked with them, so they did stay on. So we have that knowledge. At least we have some information because we didn't get a lot. So, and then we have two other employees who are on site that we brought on. Edgar is over our maintenance department, so he'll be out here doing inspections twice a month and working with Jonathan on what he finds to see what the guys can fix and getting quotes for it so we can present things in good time. Eddie is my GM over all my services in the company, landscape, security, janitorial, and maintenance. So he's here as oversight. Matt oversees my security and facilities department. And then DJ and Carlos. DJ is my branch manager for landscaping. And Carlos is our irrigation specialist. So they're all going to be out here doing inspections and working with your vendors and your teams.
Welcome aboard.
I just get to talk.
report.
Yeah, so this inspection report, basically Edgar went around, he worked with the maintenance, they identified some issues. So the goal is going to be Jonathan's going to work with the team and see what we can get done within the staff on site over the next month before the meeting and let you know. Infomark did share their last inspection of certain things, so they're working through that as well. And then anything on these lists that we find that we can't get done in-house, we will present proposals for. Just some concerns we found. And then obviously he'll do another inspection before the next meeting and we'll work through. That's our process. So here's your inspection at the beginning of the month. We're going to work through it. End of the month, what we completed, what we found still, and your vendor proposals. So that's how you'll see it from that side for us.
And then next up, we have the landscape report.
So Carlos and DJ just kind of went through as an initial just to see conditions of everything and what they found. They will get with ULS and set up and Jonathan and probably do a drive-through and go through and kind of understand a little more of the scope, maybe the history on some of these items and what they're seeing. And then every month they'll kind of present their inspection from their side and what they're doing to work with the team. It's just an added value we bring, just nothing wrong, just holding accountable all the vendors.
Any questions of Samantha?
Yeah, have you guys worked with United on other properties?
Yes.
Yes, we have worked with United in the past, so.
Okay.
We're used to them.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
I think.
I didn't mean that in a bad way.
Excellent.
Any more questions of Berman? We'll move on to staff reports. District Council?
Well, we've spent most of our time dealing with transition issues and on a lot of the things that you all have approved and considered today. So we may want to have a security session at your next board meeting. And if we do that, we'll work with your chair and your manager to get that notice. Also, Precision Sidewalk Grinding has informed us that they have a tentative start date of September 8th. So their contract requires them to start and complete the project without delay and complete it in a commercially reasonable time period. I think given the conversation at the board meeting last month, the board had a different definition of without delay than Precision did. But unless the board tells us to do something differently, we'll be waiting till hopefully September 8th, and hopefully they will start on that date. And
Yeah,
I don't have anything else to report.
yeah, it's another week at this point, and we dragged our feet with them to start. So we've already agreed to it. It's going to get done just maybe next month instead of last month. But I don't think we want to take any further action other than holding them to their contract.
Thank you, Mike.
No problem.
District engineer. You guys will find his discussion items regarding 5 Points Maintenance Facility at the bottom of the agenda.
Good evening, everyone. I only have one thing for tonight's discussion, and in light of the change with district management and field management, this item may be worthy of discussion. That is the 5 Oaks Drive Maintenance Facility. Let me at least give you an update, and then y'all can decide with Berman on board what directions the board wants to go. So as reported last month, the survey work has been completed and the geotechnical work has been completed. Since that, the engineer has met with Osceola County. They support the proposal use, and they made a slight modification to the conceptual site plan, which is in your tablet. He also met with the Tahoe Water Authority. They do have capacity for water, sewer, and reclaimed water. The only surprise was there's not a gravity line in front of the property, so we need a pump station to pump the sewage into their force main, which will be an added cost to what we came up with 2.5 years ago. With that said, he is willing to move forward with final design and permitting services with the county, with Toho, and with South Florida Water Management District. But again, with the change of the field management services, this may be something I'll reconsider at this point tonight. That's all I have this evening, so.
Okay. I mean, my thoughts are the same as before. If this is something that we think we ever want to do, it will not get cheaper by waiting for it. We have been setting aside money in our reserves to support this. It's not going to, yeah, it's boring. It's not going to, the cost of this won't hit all at once. This is a process, but Samantha, just for, the quick backstory, we had a maintenance trailer that was the field services office. It changed places. It wasn't always done with the county permitting approval. So we had to remove it. And that's why they are kind of set up in the concession area at the Ashley Park pool on what was meant to be a short-term basis. So, and the position of where we put this permanent maintenance facility, it was a multi-year process. Originally, it was going to be closer to Buck Lake. We settled on this position. We, David has been started in process. We have a different engineering firm that was overseeing the actual construction of it. So we're well down the path of constructing a permanent field services office maintenance facility. It comes up every now and then that, maybe some residents disagree with the expenditure of the money. And what I said a couple minutes ago, this is something that if we think we never, ever want to do, then I agree, let's not spend any more money on it. But if it's something that we do think we want to have at some point, anytime in the future, the cheapest time to do it is right now. So that's my thought.
Can't operate with that logic all the time. But I guess then the question is, does your team feel like they need that? They were obviously operating out of a temporary office, but to be clear, Infomark did on the record say it would be nice, but we don't need it. And so I have a difficult time allocating the funds there when there's several things that residents would want. So again, like my question to you guys is in your team is, do you feel like you absolutely need a maintenance facility?
Oh.
Hello? Okay. So we never want to take money away from things you'd want to do in the community. Like they said, it is a nice have for us. It is a good space. It's good to set up. It's good to have a permanent space to store attic stock and other items so we can do repairs and other things quicker and be on site, and saves time and money over time. It makes things easier. It is easier. We do have it in other places, but I don't want to take money away from the community if there's other things that you guys want to allocate it towards. So we would never say, yes, 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 we need it. But if it's there, we would,
operate.
yes. it is better to operate. What they're operating out of right now, I was a little confused by. It's not in the best area or the space, or, you know, I think it's a better use for that space for something else, I'm sure, for the residents even. And it'd be better, but again, I wouldn't want to
Right.
take money that you would allocate somewhere else
And-
for something.
And we had an office in the past, and we have been, our intention with increasing that reserve contribution for the last couple of years now was with this in mind. So
Well, how long is the county going to let us keep storing stuff behind the garden? Because is that not the issue? We are not allowed to keep our stuff there.
we can't have a building back there.
Can't have.
We can't have a building back there. That was part of the issue before. We do have some, guidance from the county on potential use of that property for the storage lot. As far as us using, we have the containers back there for storage of large items.
But I thought that was only temporary. Well, David.
Well,
knows.
they were going to give you a long leash if there was an intention to build this. So I haven't told them otherwise. We have contacted them the last couple of years. So
Because when we passed that, we didn't do that lightly. When we did
I
that.
mean, we looked at a half a dozen sites. There was a lot of
Yeah.
discussions on multiple alternatives, the prior chairman and the chairman before that. So the county knows we're intending to do something. I just haven't told them otherwise. So-
Right.
We've,
And we haven't decided otherwise, to be fair.
But at some point, they could come and say, hey, you didn't do anything, and now we're not going to let you keep the stuff back there.
Yeah, the understanding from what David just told us is that we were kind of in good faith, told the county that we were going to replace this not permitted trailer that was on the property with a more permanent solution, going through the process, site development plan and all that, which we've been doing. So we've been continuing in good faith as the county's led us, but yeah.
Well,
we're
yeah, so what I was getting up to is that if we're going to drop this idea, we need to find someplace else for the equipment, because the county is going to catch up with us, and we were being threatened with a $350 a day fine. So, and the people live in Ashley Park aren't real keen on having the trucks coming in and out of there, but they're tolerating it. But it wasn't just about what the
So
community wants. It's about what
Dan,
the community needs.
Go ahead,
you've
Lucas.
been on the board longer than me, and I'm trying to recollect the actual reason why we were pushed out of that area. But wasn't there a portable back there where we had field service management folks working out of there that had somewhat of an office that was the underlying reason for them getting pushed out of there for firefighter trucks getting back there, not the storage
Right.
facility.
The trailer had been on the entrance road to the golf maintenance facility when that was all developer owned. The CDD, when the developer subdivided everything, the developer was no longer in charge of everything. They weren't all one big happy family, and a disagreement between the CDD and some of those developers resulted in them kicking the CDD office off that property. It was moved to CDD property across from the garden, but without the county permitting and stuff that should have been done at the time. So as a direct result of that, we were,
forced to.
Right. And in combination with trying to expand the RV storage area, that's the first time that the county became aware of all the stuff that was going on back there. So found out, we do have the PD amendment. We have a path for reopening the RV storage area, but having the building back there was never allowed. And we were given, I guess, some leeway in still having storage back there of our field services equipment on the basis that we were going to come up with a more permanent solution, which we've been working on the last 2 years.
Right. So I agree with that. And I don't know all the details with the county and stuff. I haven't been involved with that. But I mean, we do have a garden back there. It's basically right next to it, where there's storage there for, X, Y, and Z, garden stuff. So it seems that, I mean, the office there where people were actually sitting and working from was the main concern as to why we had to be removed from that area, not actually the storage facility that we store all of our stuff at. But just wanted to clarify that.
So, David, do you need any direction from us? I mean, what would the next steps be?
I just need a consensus for the board to tell the engineer to move forward with design and permitting of the facility.
we have multiple reasons to continue down this path. We have been setting aside money for it. It's not saying that we don't have money for doing other things. I'm in favor of continuing. I mean, we don't need a formal motion, do we, David? You just need
No,
general
no.
consensus from?
I just want to make sure that you're
Oh.
aware.
Okay. I mean, I would move to authorize David to continue with the plan for the permanent maintenance facility on Five Oaks as previously discussed.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes.
Could we like discuss this? Usually, Lynn, we talk about it for a little bit, then we kind of vote. But you know, additionally, there was a force from the county to make us make this decision. And it seems like I haven't seen any emails. And Mike, I don't know if you have been involved in any of these discussions with David regarding this, but it doesn't seem that there is some legal requirement that we're forced to remove our storage facilities from that area.
Yeah, I've not looked at this issue, but I mean, I have confidence in David and his communications with the county. But I mean, I've not been involved in it.
Right. I mean, we voted. I mean, we could potentially close the issue, but to answer your question, Lucas, the issue of the not a populated building back there, but just unmanned storage of stuff. Do we anticipate that would be an issue with the county, building or not, if we continued having storage in containers back there?
Last I heard, Dan, was it was the trailer where they were housing people and the garden road doesn't meet the fire department standard.
Right.
They were tolerant of the storage facility to store equipment.
Okay.
Which makes a huge difference.
Oh, well, I mean,
With
we
that-
still- go ahead.
With that information, you know, I don't think there's a need. There's more needs to facilitate maintenance and sidewalks and pool resurfacings and a 20-year-old community that needs a lot of TLC. And so I would, redact my original opinion that we should move forward with this, and I think we should invest in other things that are needed.
We just, yeah.
I mean, we just voted, right?
Okay,
No
but
one's
we
changed.
can go back. Lucas, you want to redact and
No,
amend that you?
I was talking about another meeting where I was talking about moving forward with this based on other information. No, I'm still nay. I'm still in the camp of not moving forward with this.
Well, could we just come right out and ask the county if we can put a storage building there?
Well, we're talking about, no, we're not talking about a building. Right now, we have a couple of storage containers back there
Oh.
that have, I mean, it was not to, it was described as a graveyard back there.
When I
if
said
that's-
building, I meant like a shed, a place to keep the grinding equipment and the paint brushes and the cans of
Was
paint
not
and all.
originally the issue, which is what.
No, it was having something, any kind of permanent structure back there. Without having the roads, we can't have a permanent structure that people occupy.
But people wouldn't occupy
Right,
it. It would just be
exactly.
storage. That's what I'm asking. I mean, I guess I'm unclear at this
Well,
point.
when it was an office, and I'm gonna have to go back to the Dutch guy, I forget his name,
Gerhard.
Gerhard. There was offices in there, equipment, computers, everything.
Right,
That had to be moved out.
right.
So. we're
But
talking
I
about-
thought they also made us take our equipment out.
It was the office itself.
Yeah.
So now we went back to where are we gonna put them?
Uh-huh,
It was Buck Lake and all the other things we talked about. So,
yeah.
so the questions tonight are, we're moving forward with an office and storage in a fenced area with all the things that go with an office. But
So we have a secure place to store our CDD assets, tools, vehicles that is not a container sitting at the back of that.
It would
Why?
be nice to not have our stuff in a storage container. This last week, we had a middle schooler taken by ambulance because he was hurt on a sidewalk. And that's where we need to allocate our funds right now.
Okay, and we have budget for doing that. We're already spending last year's allocated funds on doing that, and we increased our budget for doing that next year. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. We've been setting aside money for this, in addition to our line item for specifically sidewalk repairs. This is trying to get us back to a state where our field services has a place that is not a, tiny shed where they can stage equipment, store their stuff, store our tools and things that aren't in a rusty container. And Samantha just, told us that, no, it's
Maybe
not it's not a showstopper if we don't have it, but it will make the job of providing field services to our neighborhood cheaper and better over the long run. We had a facility like this. We had to remove it. We had
Any of that, Dan. I'm just talking about in terms of importance, if we're like, putting things here in hierarchy in terms of priority for the neighborhood.
Yeah, I
think
agree.
there's several other things above that.
Okay, I agree. And where the cost of this won't hit all at once. We increased our budget for sidewalk repair. We're just talking about cutting people's bond payments 14 to 18%, which could we could still, pass that along to residents the next year and still maintain the, increased reserve spending that we did this year. We're being fiscally responsible here, but we're also trying to make sure that we voted. Does anyone, to be fair, do you two want to change your vote based on the county maybe being okay with us?
Well, I
keeping
voted against it the first time because I wanted to put it at Buck Lake, which of course made me even more unpopular, but I was going to do it nicely. But anyway, because that was like a third of the cost, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And anyway, I guess I'm wondering how much would it cost, the thing that you're talking about going forward with? Can we do that and then still clarify with the county if we're allowed to keep our storage back there and maybe put up?
I don't think we
something
should
for storage?
ask the county. I mean,
this meeting's public record. It's
okay, if the county's listening, then they'll reach out, but I don't think that we need to reach out to them and say, hey, is this okay right now? If it's not okay, they're gonna let
Well,
us
since
know.
they told us it wasn't okay, I
Well,
guess.
right,
if
but
they're
that
gonna
was
keep
for
doing
having
it-
somebody there, right? So now we're talking about something totally different, which is just. the
Well,
equipment
that's not the way it was presented to us at the time though, and that's where I've gotten confused.
Well, I thought, that's
Yeah.
what I just got from.
Right, right.
Well, and it was triggered by trying to expand the RV storage area. That's how we applied for permitting back there. And
The I had
made-
just come on and that had happened, and so I came in the middle.
So, they're interrelated, but the actual sin that we were going to be fined for was having a populated building back there. And we were given leeway for the time frame of moving that. And yes, maybe we're doing other stuff on that property. It is our property. And if we want to have a storage container there that holds something large, maybe that's something we're allowed to do. But we still made the decision as a board multiple times now that
Yeah.
we want to restore this facility for our providing field services that we once had, but in a fashion that is more permanent and agreeable to the county.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, the thing that you were talking about going forward with, what kind of expense?
So just to let the board know, we're not talking about, he's still got to design it,
Right.
go through several submittals to the county, they get permits from 3 agencies. It may be 9 months before we're even ready to advertise for bids.
Right,
So this
right.
won't be happening quickly. So
No, but I think it just boils down to more money going into this when we're not even sure what direction we're going in.
Well, no, we are sure. We voted multiple times, and every time we vote to do this.
Oh, right. I
And
just
if,
voted no.
well, okay, and that's fine. That's why we have 5 of us, so we can come to decisions like this.
What I was trying to get at is it just going to be a little bit of money to let that start rolling and then have us clarify with the county and then make a firm decision next month? But
I believe the total budget for design and permitting, don't quote me, I thought was like $60,000.
okay,
So the survey's done, the geotech was done. He's begun negotiations with Toho Water Authority and the county. They know we're moving forward at this point. So
and if we don't do it, then we have to start all over again if we decide to do it later.
if we kill it later, say the plans are done, we bid it, it comes at a 600,000, not 400,000. You don't have to build it, we'll have to reboot again. So
Yeah, yeah.
And this happened with the paving project. We
Yeah.
saw the price, we balked, we waited, and the bids
Yeah.
only went up.
I'm going to stick to my vote. I think we should move forward, but I would also like to clarify with the county about the
Okay.
storage of the equipment.
Right, so I just want to make sure, Julie, Joe, yes, Dan, yes, Brittany was no, Lucas, were you yes or no?
That was no.
No, okay, so 3-2, motion passes. Next up, we have district landscaper. Was there anything further you needed to report to the board?
Nick, United again. I just wanted to touch base. We are experiencing some flooding at Buck Lake and behind Dark Sky. And some areas that's a little weedy, due to the weather. So we're having to, go a little harder on the, chemical than, normal. And I also wanted to bring up, in the past, we have, given some proposals for the pocket parks. Some of the crepe myrtle trees and things of that nature. I know with, everything with Infomark, I didn't know if that was the time for me to bring that back into the fold. There's several dead trees at the dog park over here, and we are losing vegetation at a few of the parks. From what I can see, they look old, like 2003. Some of these have just timed out. I'm noticing it's species too, like the viburnum and things of that nature. So how are you guys feeling? I mean, is there certain parks that maybe I should start bringing proposals on? Because there's like 12 dead trees over at. Yes, ma'am. They're not, last year they're just timed out, and they're not, and I don't recommend we put them back because the oak canopy. So there's a lot of just removal. So I didn't know if maybe next month I could bring a few of those.
Yeah. Sounds good.
And we warranted the tree at Ashley Park. It had failed and we put a new one in. And that's all I had to report.
Okay.
Hey, Nick, I got a couple of questions. Hurricane season's coming up. I noticed some tree limbs on sidewalks and maybe some on Five Oaks that potentially are meeting, I don't know, I think we have that 14-foot requirement. What's the timeline on that stuff, and when do you guys plan to start doing that work?
September into October, we already came up with a list of some of the roads. We did Capbriar and Schoolhouse and Five Oaks last year. Dark Skies in Need, a lot of the newer areas of the community. The trees are a little bit younger, but we want to get those raised up. We're gonna try and get that scheduled. On the next meeting, I can provide dates and locations if that works for you.
Okay, yeah, there's a couple of spots. I might just reach out to you and see if you guys can trim those areas, mainly on the sidewalks, not necessarily down the main roads, but some of them are hanging where if you're walking down the sidewalks, they kind of hit you in the face if you're not paying attention. So,
Yeah, we'll take care of that, no problem.
all right, thanks, Nick. Appreciate it, bud.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks, Nick.
Anything from field management more than you guys already handled?
Hi, Samantha again. First, thank you all for bearing with us. Day 4, we're trying to wrap our heads around everything with the little information we got. Couple things Lynn will be sending out. We'll be sending out some information. You're going to see wherever we can post them. We'll be posting, it'll be like a QR code. It'll also be a link. It'll be on the website. So you can scan that. You can go to the website. You'll be able to click it. You can submit maintenance requests or things you see around, attach pictures, all of that. It goes to this whole team and PFM. That way we can kind of track anything going on and incorporate that in the reports every month. But Jonathan will answer. He got it. If you want to be contacted and know that we're taking care of it. So you'll see that. And some of the reservation forms, we're going to work on making them a little more email friendly. So there's not a lot of paper and exchanging, and you get confirmation and we know they're going to one place. So bear with us. We'll get it all rolling in the next couple of weeks, but we're here. Jonathan's here, the team's here, and we're looking to take care of things for you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Samantha. Great. Next up, I provided you guys board member packets. Look through the information. You have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I believe I got everyone's W-9. Lucas, do you elect to be paid?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll send you an updated W-9 that I'll need you to fill out, and I will get that over to you tomorrow.
All right, thanks.
What? Yeah, you can. I have. So I have received some resident complaints. You heard one in the beginning. Mary Jane reached out about the gun shooting. I don't know how you guys want to handle this. You guys want to have a topic discussion. That was one of the complaints. Steve Johnson complained about the overgrowth around the pond between East and South Lakes, and it needs to be trimmed. I will work, Dragonfly Pond also does more than just maintenance, so I will get a proposal from them on that item. Resident Keith, his sidewalk, is being destroyed in front of 3509 Clay Brick Road. Tree root is making it hazardous for residents. I have not reviewed, your proposal from Precision to see if this area was in it, but another sidewalk complaint. We received a complaint from David White about boat rentals. We are already working on that. And then I let David or Dan know that, I heard from this meeting location, they're not sure beginning January 2026 if we can have our meetings here moving forward.
So my question related to that would be how much of that is, well, we've had some absolute marathon meetings here before. And also going back maybe closer to a year or more, Infomark Field Services would help with the setup and tear down. The chairs and tables aren't usually quite like this, and they do ask that they return to their previous state. So I'm not sure if that was within scope of services, if anyone from Berman is able to do that, or if that's an additional thing we would need to do. But all that goes into the question of, is the reason they're not sure they want to continue with us
The exact comment was, we are happy to confirm that we can coordinate the meeting calendar until the year's end. Regarding 2026, we are still discerning some changes within our own community. And as soon as we have more clarity, we will get back to you and share it with you.
Okay, so in that case, I mean, we had a 500 something page agenda. Yes, most of it was bond language, but we were at just barely over 2 hours right now. I think you've done a great job keeping things moving, still giving us time to discuss, hear from residents even, and still get through a meaty meeting agenda promptly. So if let's make sure we're communicating with our hosts here that we're making a commitment to not having 11 p.m. meetings.
Yes, that was one of the comments I got. Please be respectful and be out by 10 as the people here are volunteering. So I don't know. I can find out more information and, I can do my due diligence of getting you guys out quicker. Obviously, today was very hefty with everything. I expect us to get down to hour meetings. So it is, I'm already doing better today. I'm at 2 hours and 20 minutes. So,
Thank you, girl. On the record, we love you.
So I just did want to go back to the shooting and the guns. That seems very high importance. But
right. Well, so it's adjacent to CDD property and it's of resident concern. Absolutely. Is there any, it's ultimately, CDD has no enforcement ability on our own, but we can ask the county, Kevin brought up, through the sheriff's office. I guess the question would be, is there anything just in a formal capacity as a CDD that we can ask of the county that might have maybe carry a little more weight than just residents reaching out on their own?
I'm not sure there is. It's not our property and we do not have policing powers. So
right.
I understand the concern. I'm not sure that we can do anything more than.
Right.
Lynn, we've had several instances happen there, and it was asked of Infomark several times to write a letter to the parcel owner or the property management group. I think we asked that probably like 6 months in a row. I don't even know if the letter ever went out. So maybe we can start there, having an official communication from it might not hold any weight, but having an official communication from the management company or the CDD to the parcel owner.
Mike, is there a letter you could prepare that notates something is coming from this property that maybe they would be willing to work with us in some capacity? Or
So Lynn, let me kind of give you a little backstory and correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, because you probably know it too, but there's a parcel back by, I guess it's South Lake, by the end of the property line that goes to Cat Lake. That gate, there's a gate there that the property owner owns. I think it's Fusler, in that parcel, but our property extends past there. Dan, if you could, chime in.
Yeah. So it's right. It's the Coastline, I believe, is the developer that owns that.
Okay.
It's between North and East Lake, both parcels, but it runs out to Cat Lake. And yes, there was a gate that has been open or closed, locked, not locked, and recently has been just left ajar.
Right.
And the question's enforcement. I mean, I agree. If we're I don't think it's a huge ask for our council to potentially draft a letter. I mean, that's district hours to bill, but not a huge amount. But again, the core of the issue is we have nothing we can formally do that has any teeth. It would be asking the county, the sheriff's office, code enforcement to enforce that. Is the property overgrown, which it has been at times? Is it just a hazard to public safety being left open and not monitored or whatever?
Right. But there was at a time where I thought Infomark had either it was Infomark or the property owner would lock the gate at certain times and had a sign out front that said the gate was
Right.
open during these times and it would be closed at this
Right,
time and there was no golf carts allowed. Da, 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 da.
That's
Like
the property that it's the private property, so that would have been the owner doing that.
They had an agreement, the property management group had an agreement essentially with a resident, call it. And that no longer exists.
Right.
So, and my idea was, obviously it would be great if legal could write a letter, but if legal says that it's okay for the management company to write the letter, perhaps we can save some billing hours there and just have it come like as a from the CDD. Co-sign.
Yeah, management is certainly authorized to write a letter to a property owner about concerns about the use of that property.
Can you say that again, Mike?
Lynn can write the letter if the board wants her to.
And again, it's probably gonna no way. I'm hearing that they're even in default, so they're probably maybe not read it, maybe not care. But if we could write a letter to them, just so we did that, and then maybe even to the county, so that's on record too.
Right.
Yeah, right.
so in front of that parcel is our property. Right past on the verge is there something that we could put a sign out legally and say I don't know, private property, do not, like don't go back there in certain times, or we can't lock the gate, that's their property, right? But I don't know if there's something else we could do on our property.
So yeah, Mike, is there any kind of within what we're legally allowed to do, is there any kind of like deterrent that we could put on our property that is in front of that property? That, I mean, it's kids. I'm not thinking it's going to work, but is it something we can at least try?
There's probably something we can do, and you could write a letter to the sheriff saying, hey, we need enhanced enforcement back here. And you all need to, come back here a whole lot more often than you have been. And then you could put up a sign saying, this area is subject to enhanced monitoring access, is for the landowner only. But I think your first step would be reach out to the landowner and see if they can't agree just to lock the gate. And that would be helpful, it sounds like. And because maybe, they don't know that it's, just not locked at all anymore. Who knows? But I would start there.
Sorry, go ahead.
I said I would start there, and I would also start with contacting the sheriff's office saying, hey, we're having a lot of problems back here. Can you guys step up your patrols through this area, especially, during the times when you tend to have these types of events?
Now, I understand there's different organizations. PFM is already in contacting the property owner just related to the assessment. Is there any,
we have not contacted them. I need to know Brittany or whoever can provide me that parcel. I can get their contact information and send a friendly letter and ask them to contact me and see if we can do
Yeah,
it.
I actually have all the contact information because
If you will send that to me,
discussed it with
Brittany.
Infomark a lot. Yes, I will.
Okay, I will
And
do
is it
that.
possible that if the property owner would let us lock the gate every evening?
I mean, we can
Yeah,
talk to them.
And
We can
maybe,
see if
and
we can work
maybe
anything out.
the Berman people could go and do that when they lock the pool, or check the pool.
Yep, we can follow up and see
Yeah.
if we We
I mean,
can
it's
get
a-
a
it's an
response. So it's
idea,
not a phone
yeah.
number unless somebody has a phone number. I can reach out to somebody. I
Yeah.
will send a letter to whatever's on the property appraiser's website. So we'll handle it that. The only other thing I need to know is if this gentleman that is complaining about the tree root breaking up his sidewalk, are you guys wanting us to identify more sidewalk areas? Or
We
how-
had, in one of our monthly agendas, and I do have them saved in my computer at home, there was a proposal and it identifies some of the.
I
worst
did just
areas.
get it from Precision. We're going
Oh.
through it, but
But,
what
oh,
if-
there was another one though, not just Precisions, because Precisions will only do certain ones, I think.
Right. But
well, Rose Paving, we seem to got a really good response from them.
yeah,
talked-
before we chose Precision, we had the proposal from Precision, but also from Infomark's in-house construction on what a cut or lift, cut, and re-pour solution would be for some of those really heavily lifted panels. The contract with Precision, that's just for Catbrier right now. That was, I mean, intentionally just to, see how we like the quality of their work, the price, how quickly they're able to do it and everything
And-
before potentially direct, paying to have them do other sidewalks. If it is like the one that we have on Schoolhouse and Primrose, they had a mobilization fee, but they were able to add a completely different area for, from 75 to 8,000 was the difference from coming out for one thing to coming out for two things. So if there are, we're receiving specific complaints of a, major problem area, I mean, it's 8,000 is a lot of money, but if we can direct field services to, as they're doing their inspection, either, confirm areas that have been reported and just, triage it, what is the next worst offender. And, maybe it's, we just do a contract with Rose, come out once a month, take out, 2 or 3, whatever makes sense for them to mobilize, come out here and fix, and just attack the biggest offenders while we evaluate how Precision did with the, the bigger, the longer, the linear park for Catbrier, what that costs and what that looks like and how that holds up. And
Well, actually, I was going to, in supervisor requests, ask that we do like we did last month, but we don't have one identified yet, but to pick the 2 or 3 other worst ones and have a thing with not to exceed and get them going. Because if we wait another month, we're just falling further and further behind. There's the one in 5 Oaks. They did the one in Primrose Willow today, and they did several on Schoolhouse right there. But I know there's other spots that are really bad, and I would like to see us get some other ones started.
Well, especially I would say there's certain areas that are very high traffic for the kids when they're coming out of school. The tunnel, Clay Brick, Cup Seed, Bear Grass, very high traffic area with the kids on their scooters, on their bikes, and
So
yes.
So they were just telling me, so they've been going around identifying if they can grind it. We've done 5 sections so far this week that they found. So they're looking if we can do it in-house and get it done, we're doing that. And then we work with Rose, we can get multiple bids, but we can put together, ones that they can't work with and present it to you monthly as they come up and go, hey, we identified these, they're outside of our scope, but that's what they're working through now. and
That's
They've started
exactly
doing that.
what we want, yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
We know it's a hot button for the community, so it's
if-
definitely on the top of their list.
But if they identify some before the next meeting, I'm all in favor of us.
what you're saying is you'd like to set a not to exceed monthly allowance.
No, just
essentially.
for this month,
Oh.
just for September, just while we're on a roll,
Gotcha.
and let's keep it going.
It's up to you guys. We
Just-
can send them in as we don't have to wait for the meeting. I mean, we can send them over to PFM and they can get them out to you.
Well, but.
Dan
again,
also has the authority to approve, and so do I. I can approve under 5,000, and I can get with the chair to approve over 5,000, considering these are emergency sidewalk matters. But for today, we could set an amount to look at some more high traffic areas and see if Rose can do anything while they're on site now. They are here. They did today, and they came in quicker than Precision did, so.
And they, it's cheaper if we get a few done at a time. So that's where I was, kind of.
Did you guys want to set an amount today?
I do, but I don't know if the rest of the
I'm
board.
okay with giving Dan the okay to approve
Yeah.
something. you know, I mean, he's already got the,
Right.
Right. We already did that. I mean, basically, we had a conversation just at the last meeting 3 weeks ago that, hey, we think this company will be able to come in under the approval amount, which they did. I mean, do we just want to, they're already here mobilized. What number are we thinking? Add 5 on top of that?
I mean, don't you have 5 and Lynn have 5? That's 10.
Yeah. I mean,
What- were you thinking about going over that?
Well, you know me, I'm a big spender.
well,
I am a big advocate for sidewalks and we
If-
need to.
If they are buckling and heaving up in the center, like the one on Primrose and the one on Schoolhouse, I just think we have to take care of them. Plus, we have money left over in our budget, and September 30th starts the new budget. So I would like, that's kind of why I was thinking we should spend some of it now. So it's in our sidewalk budget.
do we want to say just we set aside another 10 right now to see what we can always
Yeah,
do
that
with
would
them
be
already
good.
mobilized?
That would be good.
I'm,
You have one to recommend?
well, Berman's looking back and forth. How's the scope of that sound? What do you guys think?
So a motion to move forward with spending another 10K on sidewalk repairs.
Is that agreeable? I mean, I see you guys discuss.
Do you want to see what they find tomorrow to give them to do it before?
Right. Well, you guys have already started.
Yeah.
We're doing that in house, and we don't want to get in the way with that. We want to clear the runway for if roads needs to come in. Yes, ideally they're already mobilized. If there's something that we can identify within, they're already here right now. In the next
Yeah.
few days, can they do? That would be ideal.
That's what we're gonna work on like tomorrow. But my question is, do you guys want to see what they're gonna do? Or are you trusting that we're finding really bad areas that we know we can't do and they're good to do
We
it?
want to do the not to exceed to
Okay.
make sure you guys can get it done.
Perfect. They'll get with them.
In the amount of 10 and in the amount of 10,000, I'll move.
Fine. I second.
Okay.
Favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Well, hold on. Lucas had something. Did you want? Was that your vote, Lucas, or do we want to?
I just said aye. Yeah, I agree with you guys.
Okay. We're okay with that amount. I mean, I like moving doing things quickly, but I guess if we had, we need to make sure if we have any discussion, it's before we do our move and vote and move on. You're making faces, Brittany. You want to?
No, I'm pondering it, but I tend to be a little bit more conservative, but I do, in this case for the sidewalks, I'm gonna vote aye also.
Okay.
Did you have a specific spot?
That was the one that had came from Port Brick. So I reported initially back in June. Also had some people that's recently tripped and fallen because of that location. So I was just kind of standing back. I just wanted to make sure that it was one of the.
Well, yeah, maybe you guys can note that there.
You are the exact 3509. Yep. So
Um,
we're hearing you guys. We're writing it down. We're taking notes.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Yes.
Coming out of the tunnel, obviously clay brick, the kids come off of there on their
Clay
sidewalk.
brick.
Yeah,
That's
the
high.
clay brick right off of the tunnel. The kids come out of there with their scooters and bikes all day, morning and afternoon, and it's very uneven.
We'll be glad to look at that for you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's like the number one complaint I've gotten so far,
Okay.
besides Infomark not responding.
Okay. So, and we're in supervisor request, right? Okay, so my other thing I'd bring up is getting to engineering, and we had the feedback from Mr. Deal at the county that there's a path forward for opening the storage area, definitely with less fencing than we had maybe originally proposed. Yes, there's the if you completely encircle it, it's more secure, but at least to get started, as long as we just cover the opening to it, that satisfies the county. As long as it's, whatever, 6 foot high, can't see through, has landscaping in front of it, there's a cheaper path for the fencing. My question for the board would be, do we want to give David the direction? This would be spending more engineering hours to do this, but that would be to engage with the county and sync up with, they had a whole set of proposals done a number of years ago to improve the Garden Road. There were pull-offs. There was, my impression is it's more scope of improvements to the road than what the county would ask for us today versus 3 years ago. So the question would be, are we okay asking, directing David to spend engineering hours, engage with the county, and if needed, update what the plans would be for improving the Garden Road, with having in mind that we would, decide if we want to put out for bid, or maybe it turns out it's going to be just as built up as before, and take the proposals from 3 years ago, add a inflation percentage to it. Do we want to give David that direction to start spending his hours on finding out from the county if there's a lower cost path forward to reopen the RV lot?
Yes. I think yes. I think it's a great opportunity to provide some details into what we need to do to get it back up and running, and it's long term. It's going to be an investment for the CDD to bring in some revenue. I think there's a lot of interest in getting that RV lot back up and running from the community. So yeah, I think it's definitely worthwhile for David to get that started up again.
Well, and I think we have to get the information before we can make a decision, and that involves David, so I say yes.
Brittany, thoughts? I mean, we're saying this, so if, David comes through and, hey, I spent my budget in 9 months instead of 12 months, this could be contributing to that, but is this what we want to say is a good use of our district engineer's effort to re-engage with the county, and if needed, update the plans for improving the road?
Just so I'm clear, that we would be voting to spend money on engineering hours to see if we can save money on the fence.
Well, no, the county, I mean, this is just I forget his title at the county, Mr. Deal, just verbally told me that, and I have an email to back it up, that just the perimeter, the fence across the opening of the storage lot would satisfy the amendments that were put into the PD that, govern what we can do with the property back there. And it would still be a matter of the road being improved for, yes, fire truck access, but he said it would not have to be a whole hammerhead. What it comes down to is the weight bearing requirements and the state of the road. So that would be David spending his engineer effort to update from the county what those requirements are that we would have to improve that road for, and what the cost would be to do that. Do we need, like a pull off on the side where two vehicles could pass each other, or is it okay with the width it is? There's a culvert that it crosses over. There's engineering work that would have to be done. The impression from speaking with Mr. Deal was it's not as onerous as we thought it was 3 years ago. So do we want to spend the engineering time to confirm that and see what kind of bids, and maybe he talks and finds out that no, the scope is the same that we engineered the road for 3 years ago, so all those proposals still count, and here's what it's going to cost plus inflation. That might be the outcome, but there's a chance that, and that's my impression, is that maybe the requirement's a little less than it was engineered for 3 years ago. Do we want him to engage and confirm that and proceed with that to see if there's a lower cost path than what we thought it would be 3 years ago?
But I would also say, if you're going to vote no against this, whoever is going to vote no, then you're basically saying that the RV lot's not going to get opened again, because we need to do this work to understand what we need to fix and meet the requirements of the county so we can open it. So just my 2 cents there.
And it was feedback from the fire marshal that, drove those hammerheads and stuff. And it's a different fire marshal now. And that's what the fire marshal today says, we'd have to carve out some areas within the storage area that would be set aside for turning around. So we don't just ignore it, but it's less onerous of a build requirement for us compared to, a hammerhead and passing lanes and everything that we had in the original plan 3 years ago. So are we okay directing David?
My question is then, is that going to be specific to, is it specific to this road? Like they're not standard protocols, procedures. Obviously, I'm not an engineer. I have no idea. So I'm literally just asking.
Right. Well, and it's on the, Florida gas easement, and it goes right over a pipeline. So it cannot be hard pavement. It has to be some kind of crushed aggregate or whatever. So it's the engineering work of how much does it have to be built up? Does it need, a turnoff lane so two vehicles can pass each other? Those are the questions that we would need our engineer to answer to then decide if the plans that were done 3 years ago are still valid, or if there's a possible lower cost path forward. And either way, once we have that answered, then we make the separate decision of, do we want to spend that money to restore that and bring that income in?
I understand.
So I'll move to direct engineering to engage with the county to confirm the scope of what improvements would be needed to the Garden Road.
Second that.
That sound good to everyone involved? David, that's enough direction for you, or do you have any comments for to amend that motion before we vote on it?
Just for the board, I'm just going to meet with the county. I'm not going to do any design, plans, production, nothing expensive. Just dust off what we did 3 years ago, bring it in front of them, see where we're at, and report back to you next month. It's just a meeting, so.
Right. Would that be you asking the specific question, is this, more than is required? I think it'd be worth revisiting your design if it means that, well, we can have that discussion later. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Well, the only clarification I need from you guys is 3 years ago, we wanted to fence the entire lot because of vandalism. Are you backing off of that now? You just want a front fence?
Well, would we
The minimum.
would we need to decide that right now? Because my thought with giving this direction was just specific to the road. And is the road that we planned 3 years ago, is that still valid, or is that over scoped from what they're saying we would need now? And then so that's a yes or no. What does the county say we need to do? For the fence, that's I think a separate conversation of, I at least have verbal from the county that the short fence would be okay. Then we just decide as a board, do we want that short fence, or do we want more secure, more expensive fence around the entire perimeter? Is that?
So my thing is if Dave's gonna go meet with the county within this next couple weeks, or I don't know what the timeline is, but if he gets the answer, I wanted to give you, Dan, the ability to prove his work, to go and develop the plans and the engineering work to get understanding of the costs and bring a plan to the board that we could potentially vote on in the next meeting. I don't know if that's probably a little too fast, but I didn't want him to go to a meeting and be like, okay, yeah, I know what I need to do, but I can't do it now because I need to be approved to go do that work. So I'd rather have that ability for him to go meet with the county, understand what needs to happen, and then you approve his engineering work to go work it and keep that moving forward. I think the fence is on the back end of that, where we can implement that after, and not necessarily, the road's the more important issue.
Right. The road's a pass or fail thing we need to fix to the county's satisfaction. The fence, there'll be a minimum that we can build, but then that's a future conversation if we want to extend that all the way around. But so I think the direction for David is that we want you to engage with the county, find out what the current status is on the requirements for the road improvements and confirmation of the minimum fencing requirements. And Lucas is saying, if that all sounds good, to proceed with, I guess it would be updating the plans. I mean, that's a more substantial spending of hours. Are we saying in advance as a board that we're okay with that?
I don't know if I need to make a motion, but that's what we pay him for. I think if we're all on board with getting the RV lot back up and running, then we need to give him the ability to go do the work.
Rest of the board, what do we think?
I'm okay with approving the extra hours to do the due diligence, but I do think that we should meet then once we have that information and discuss.
Joe, the mic didn't pick up very well. But
That I'm okay with approving the extra hours so that David could have the meeting, find out what the minimum requirements are, essentially find out if we have to update our plans. But then I would like to convene as a group and then discuss before moving forward with anything else.
Okay, so that's yes for the first part of what Lucas said, but then still we want to come back next month, see what the results of that conversation was. That's Brittany's position. Joe, Julie, what are your thoughts? Well, so David, the motion will be that we want you to engage with the county, confirm the minimums for the road improvements and the fencing. We'll review those in a month at the next meeting based on your conversation and then make a decision from there?
Understand.
Do we need a motion for that? Right. Yep. Okay.
So I just want to know, it sounds like we're not going to give David the ability to go work this stuff. And so we're getting months of chunks at a time for him to go and do work and get this RV lot up and running as an investment and
Well,
and
to be fair,
getting trailers and stuff off of the roads. So I'm just letting everybody know that this is a very slow process and we could be looking out 6-7 months until this thing's actually up and running. If we don't give David the ability to go do the work and actually bring us, the solution that we have to vote on, then it's gonna take time, longer time than anybody really wants to do.
Right. Well, and the downside is, I mean, what happened 3 years ago? We authorized that work. We came up with all the plans, and then we decided, oh, it's too expensive. We don't want to do that, and we had a higher engineering bill that a bunch of people complained about. But that's the risk of.
Do we need a motion to give Dan permission to what Lucas is saying?
Yeah, he's staff, so. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not talking, he's
But
not gonna
Lucas is
spend
okay.
$60,000 on developing a solution or the details of what it's gonna cost for us to improve the road. We're not
Okay.
deciding on that,
We need
Bill.
to go back and read the minutes because I thought the county told us no.
I spoke to
Regardless,
Kurt Deal.
I thought it had more that it was not just the road.
I spoke with Kurt Deal at the county. We did an amendment to the PD, which was part of the original expansion to that area. So that is in place. Their interpretation of that now is less fencing than we had in our proposal 3 years ago. And we're going to find out if the road requirements are the same or less, or maybe more than they were 3 years ago. And David will tell me after he's done that, maybe it's before the next meeting. And maybe I'll say, wow, this is great. Off to the races. And if you can get something, maybe it's just updating the old plans. Maybe the scope is wildly different now and we can, we'll see. We're trying to speculate what's going to happen here. David has a direction to engage with the county. I'll forward the emails that I've received from Mr. Deal. I'm done with my supervisor comments.
Supervisor requests?
The requests, yeah.
Well, I wanted to give you a round of applause for leading us through these last few months and all the work that you've had to do. So thank you, Dan, because all the meetings that you've had to have, the papers you've had to sign outside of the meetings too. And I really appreciate your steady hand and your wisdom. So
Thank you, Joe.
and the other thing I wanted to bring up was, and I keep meaning to bring this up, but on Blue Stem Road, which is over by Habitat and that, a lot of people park on the grass along the lane. And do we want to look into just putting some gravel on there and letting those people park there? And then it wouldn't be so hard to mow and just because they're so tight for parking over there.
So the question would be along Blue Stem, is there CDD property that we own?
Yeah, it's ours. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we mow it, but their cars are there a lot of times. They're off the road, half on the grass, or some of them are already on the grass. And I don't think it would cost us anything much to put gravel there and just let them park there. And it's on Blue Stem and it would be parallel to 192.
David, do you have any thoughts on that?
Not Blue Stem, Little Blue Lane. I'm sorry. Yeah, Blue Stem's right by my house.
Way different there, Joe.
A Little Blue Lane. I'm sorry. Blue.
I'll be perfectly honest, with the rain, I didn't hear a thing. I'm sorry.
Okay, there's cars parking along Little Blue Lane in the grass on CDD property. Joe's idea is that maybe something that we should gravel to just make it stand up to cars parking on it better? Or is that, I mean, that's almost like we're encouraging cars to park on CDD property. Is that what we want to be doing?
Well, I just wanted to bring the idea up,
That's the question. So what do you have thoughts on that question?
Let me look into that before I give you an answer. So
Yeah. Okay.
Any other supervisor requests?
I just have a couple, I'll make them short. The pressure washing on the sidewalks. I had a resident reach out to me, before, Berman and PFM took over. There's quite a multitude of sidewalks that have mold and slippery slopes that need to be taken care of. Mainly the ones that I'm considering is the ones on Five Oaks from the roundabout on the west entrance towards, I guess it's East Lake, all the way down. Infomark started on the, I guess, north side of that, but there is a lot of sidewalks that need to be taken care of. Also, want to bring up to the board about consideration of residents' requirements on pressure washing their own sidewalks around the circles of Five Oaks, Catbrier, and Schoolhouse, where basically all the sidewalks need to be kind of replaced. But there's some requests that residents have had to walk on those, and it's very slippery. It's a safety issue. So I don't know if we can impose certain requirements on them to maintain those, but there is some very bad sidewalks that need to be pressure washed on Five Oaks towards the schoolhouse corner uh, before the school and the roundabout. So just want to bring those two
Is
issues
that
up.
something we want to ask Mike for his input on for the next meeting, or do we think we can have him discuss that now, 5 minutes before 9 p.m. or what?
Just pick his brain real
No,
quick
I
if he
need-
wants to chime in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of times, like the sidewalks in front of people's homes, HOA documents require them to maintain them. But ultimately, if it's a CDD-owned sidewalk and it's a hazardous condition, we would not get out of third-party liability because of that HOA declaration. So I would suggest that perhaps you have, Berman take a look at those areas that were identified. And at the next meeting, I can, if the board wants me to, I can get a memo together that says what the requirements are of the CDD under state law, and then I can look at the HOA documents and see what it says in terms of responsibility for sidewalks and then report to the board if the board wants. I think I might have done part of this research before, so.
Okay. Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah, and just so, I was just talking to the guys, they did about 1,000 feet of pressure washing already this week that they identified. So they're gonna keep working through it. Any areas that, anybody sees, just send them on over and they'll, for the next meeting, have prepared what they
Yeah.
did and what they've identified going forward.
Yeah, we're 2 weeks in here, so I think we're that sounds good. Mike,
Yeah.
to give that input. Yeah, go ahead, Lucas.
Yeah, no, I understand. I know they're just taking over, but I appreciate you guys jumping on that. And, a lot of people that exercise and run down the sidewalks and stuff. So
The QR code things are a phenomenal idea. Is there any way that you could share that with us so that I can share it with the residents? Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Was that it, Lucas?
that's all I got.
Supervisor request. Anyone else? Joe, Julie? Move to adjourn.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Thank-
opposed?
Thank you, Lynn.
You guys
Thank you,
are
everybody.
welcome.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Made it out in under 3 hours.